what I say. I feel far away. Nothing is what I think. I will drown in pink. Yeah, 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 yeah. Nothing is what I say. I feel far away. Nothing is what I think. I will drown in pink. Nothing is what I say. I feel far away. Nothing is what I think. Nothing is what I think. Yeah, 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 yeah. 'Cause I will drown in pink. Oh, 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 oh. Freedom. Misdirection, you know I'm through with you. Your hoops are my obsessions, always jumping through. I'm so tangled, I'm so worthy. I'm just lost in my reflection. Pay attention, you never will. I will overanalyze and fall victim. But when I'm lowest, time to get to know myself. I'm still tangled, I'm not worried, 'cause I am caught up in this perfection. Pay attention, yeah, you never will. 'Cause you depend, so you always will. If you arrest yourself again, I'll help you clean up the mess.
Yo!
You ever did,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wonder if you ever,
did like I did. I wonder if you
ever did. Yeah. I wonder if you ever did.
like I did.
Dude, what's up? Let's go, Tanya. Thank you. Cheerio. Let's go. Make sure to hit that like button, baby.
Wanna be free, yeah.
Yeah. I wanna be free. Yo, dude, I remember when we recorded that song, right? The guy who recorded it and who was mixing it. I remember something at some point I was like, dude, at the end I sound like so-and-so or whatever. I can't remember who I said I sounded like. I thought it was somebody named Al, and he said, He said I sounded like 𝗙𝗚𝗫𝗏 is what he did. Oh, fuck. Because of the sort of reverend yells at the end, like a fucking preacher. Oh, it's classic. What up? Listening to some punk rock? All right. Dude, what a day, bro. Jesus, I overslept. Or fucking, yeah, I kind of overslept. I kind of got off my schedule today. Only got 2 videos done today. Dude. How we doing? Threw up the number 3 breakdown songs. Yes, all the songs from number 3 breakdown are in the rotation. Right? It's basically the number 3 breakdown. It is a Soul Driver demo from 1997 or 98, and the songs from the first Wanted's EP, which was 2003. Those are the 3 items that are currently on this playlist. Still working harder than the average YouTubers? Dude, I'm working hard, man. I'm definitely putting in the hours. But I would like to get more fucking disciplined, right? You know what I mean? I would like to get more disciplined because, you know, the one thing I have is I have just an extraordinary raging ADD that makes it really hard for me to be disciplined. That's my chief thing. Like sometimes a task that should take 30 minutes could take me an hour because of all the distraction I do. My ADD is like ferocious. Fucking ferocious. But it's complicated though too, because it's like the ADD is ferocious, but it's also the ADD is the fuel of the mania that is like the relentless energy that keeps the whole thing going. So that's the thing that's really the trade-off, because there have been times where I did take some medication to sort of chill out the fucking relentlessness, but my fucking creative drive disappeared as well, right? The whole like kickstart of the passionate creativity comes from that ADD. So it's like you just got to learn how to ride the wave. You know what I mean? I treat it like I'm surfing, because I don't want to get rid of the ocean, because that's where my inspiration and my passion comes from. And I don't want to get like knocked off the wave so many times that I'm not even getting a ride. So it's complicated to say the least. Okay. But we have some interesting shit to look at today. First off, Trump is reeling. Okay. Trump is fucking reeling. Do I still stream on Twitch? I have not streamed on Twitch since I got banned. I've been thinking about dual streaming, but I don't know, man. I've been liking the way the YouTube streaming is going, and I like where I'm at right now, just doing the complete YouTube thing. I kind of like abandoning Twitch, even though I know a lot of people had longtime subs over there, but I sort of like abandoning Twitch because I feel like Twitch stopped really caring about me a long time ago. And so kind of fuck them, man. We're going to build it here, I think, for a while. Right? Dude, we've been at like 300 viewers every night thus far. And you know what I'm saying? Did all the subs move over here? So I think most everybody and then some, right? Because Furrow, the only thing is I only really had like 70 subs on YouTube, and I already have double that memberships. most of the YouTube subs were, or Twitch subs were gifteds, right? And I mean, dude, it's crazy because the sub is cheaper, the membership is cheaper on YouTube, and I make as much money, right? If you do a $3 membership, I make as much money as if you did a, you know, a $6 Twitch sub or yeah, right? So, dude, 𝗙𝗍𝗍𝗪, that's amazing. Let's go. You'll sub when you get money? All right, appreciate it. You're already a sub right now. Furl, you must have gotten a gifted, right? Well, let's go. Dude, 𝗙𝗍𝗍𝗪, you got sober to live, not hide? Yeah, good call. Dude, 𝗙𝗍𝗍𝗪, yeah, dude, that was, that crazy woman fucking called 𝗙𝗍𝗍𝗪. Dude, I'm going to make that video. I haven't made it yet. That one's in the can. I've been sort of getting the pressing stuff out. But dude, 𝗙𝗍𝗍𝗪, that is the greatest, bro. Oh my God. Dude. Funtucky, what's up? So tonight we're finally going to watch the Katie Johnson video. Okay? All right. Dude, Tony, let's go, baby. Cyberpunk, let's go. Not that weird chick again. What, Matt Black, what do you mean, what weird chick? So Katie Johnson is, I don't think we're talking about the same person. Katie Johnson is the girl who, no. The one with Anna, that was fucking Emily, whatever, or right? Katie Johnson is the one of the accusers of Trump's sexual assault when she was like 13, right? And by the way, dude, I posted a fucking TikTok. I posted a TikTok that had a clip of Trump talking about being a sex pred with Ivanka. Remember the clip from Howard Stern? Right? Remember the clip from Howard Stern? So I posted that clip that is doing really well on YouTube. I posted that clip on TikTok and it immediately got flagged for community violations, community guidelines violations, even though it has not. And I appealed, but it's been 19 hours and I haven't heard yet. So TikTok is actively community guidelines violating things that are sketchy, critical of Trump. Dude, I mean, literally, I posted it and it got a community guidelines violation like instantly. And there's no guideline. That's been seen everywhere. What, the video of Katie Johnson? Dude, TikTok. Let's see. So Katie Johnson, she was part of this lawsuit right here. Okay. This was one that was filed in California, in a district court in California, and then it got retracted. Okay, this was filed in 2016 in April. And yes, this is the Jane Doe one. Oh, no. Oh, I see. With Ivanka. Yeah, no. That one, yeah, this is the Jane Doe, but there's a video of her. Okay, this was Katie Johnson, and she was 13 at the time of her claims with Trump. Hold on one sec. Let me fix something here. I want to fix... I'm going to fix this vertical solid. There we go. There we go. I think that'll be better. That will definitely be better. Yes. All right. You appreciate the coverage. Thank you, Frecky. We appreciate you, boss. All right. So this was the lawsuit, okay? This one was from 2016, and this one is pretty it's pretty extensive, okay? There is, this thing sort of came and went, okay? This thing sort of came and went. There's a lot of, there have been a lot of threats, okay? But here's the video, all right? Let me fucking pull this video real quick. I'm gonna actually pull the video so we get it off Twitter. Give me 1 sec here. Oh, fuck, bro. Oh, fuck, bro. You've never seen her? Yeah. This one's been sort of making the rounds. So I don't know if you guys saw, but part of the big attack today was about, oh shit, we can just download
Review on my free will.
Oh, nice. All right. All right, let's go. So part of the big attack today was this DNI leak. You guys may or may not have seen this, but did you see the shit with Obama? Okay, so what happened today was 𝗙𝗪𝗪 released some document that Obama, they're like trying to say Obama faked intelligence or something. They're trying to go back to 2016 now, which is crazy. Okay, did you see it? It's like they're alleging they created a little screen graphic. Let me see if we can find the graphic. Okay, this is all the toast of right-wing media, but let's find the graphic. Here's their graphic, okay, from 𝗙𝗪𝗪. All right, she says Americans will finally learn the truth about 2016. Intelligence was politicized and weaponized by the most powerful people in the Obama admin to lay the groundwork for what was a year-long coup. But dude, President Trump was fucking inaugurated. The election was fine. There was an investigation into Russian meddling, which we know Russia meddled. We know it. We don't know to the extent they did, but we know they did it. But look, here's what she says. She says, Russia, there was an intel assessment that said Russia and criminal actors did not impact recent U.S. election results. So the intel said it didn't affect the election. Okay. And then though, what it says here, secret Russia meeting. So this meeting obviously wasn't secret, right? All these meetings were not secret. They were on the logs. They were on the books. Okay. And then what Obama asked was he asked for a detailed report on what did Russia do? What was the extent of their interference? And we want a public version of this. Okay. And so what they did was they then assembled a collection of what they believed Russia did do. Okay. And then there was some news coverage about this. Okay. And then they're saying fake weaponized assessment, suppressed prior intelligence, showing Russia lacked intent and capability to hack. I mean, all of this is fucking nonsense though, right? All of this is fucking nonsense. It's like a little flow chart, but it doesn't really say anything, right? There's no proof. There's no fucking nothing. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, you see though, the graphic design, they've been working on this. Probably, right? They've probably been working on this since the Epstein thing came out, right? You don't think it's that bad? I don't think it's bad at all, right? Because if we look at what it says here, it says for months preceding the election, the intelligence community shared a consensus view Russia lacked the intent and capability to hack U.S. elections. But I don't think there was ever a question of hacking the U.S. election. The question was election interference, okay? It wasn't about hacking it. Nobody ever said they hacked the election. They were interfering in order to help President Trump, okay? They did it with, the email leaks, okay, et cetera, and, disinformation campaigns, right? But then they're saying officials prepared an assessment for the president's brief saying Russia did not impact election results by conducting cyber attacks on infrastructure, okay? But the thing about this, though, is again, they were never focusing on actual attacks on the infrastructure of the election. They were focusing on attacks in disinformation, misinformation, and attempts to sway voters, targeted election ads, et cetera. Okay? And so then they discussed Russia. They wanted an intelligence assessment that detailed Russian meddling. Okay? Again, look at the difference here. That detailed Russian meddling, not fucking hacking or doing cyber attacks on infrastructure, right? So all of this is legitimate. And Obama even talked about this. He talked openly about this. And the Mueller investigation looked into this shit, right? But they're using like the word treason and all this other shit, right? Trying to fucking, I need to reply to this. Dude, they're fucking morons, bro. Dude, so you don't get it? There's not really... Yeah, no, I know, Remus. See, the thing about this is even if you look at what they're saying about Obama, even when you look at it, you can see the inconsistencies, okay? Because it says here that Russia lacked the intent to hack the elections. Okay, then they met and said, okay, that Russia did not cyber attack infrastructure, but they wanted to gather intelligence on what meddling did they do. Okay, we know they didn't hack it. We know they didn't bring down the infrastructure, but were they behind the emails? Were they behind disinformation campaigns? Were they helping Trump? What was with that meeting with Lavrov and those guys from Trump Tower, the meetings in Trump Tower, and then the secret meetings with Trump in the Oval Office? Afterwards, etc. And so they consistently just followed up on all the election meddling. But so here directed the IC to create a new assessment that detailed Russian election meddling. So asking what the Russian meddling was, there's nothing treasonous about that. Just because you said, hey, they didn't hack the infrastructure, that doesn't mean we can't look at what they did do, right? And so the crazy shit here is they're just dredging up this fucking wild shit, it's like using words like treason and all this, but this is going to amount to nothing, right? for a years-long coup intended. There was no coup of Donald Trump. Okay, there was no coup. Dude, she is. Right? These documents detail a treasonous conspiracy. Dude. But this is their big thing. This is their big, like, attempt to distract, okay? It's an attempt to distract from fucking, from the Epstein case, right? Let's see what she says. Let's look at this real quick. Let's look at the New York Times, okay? Gabbard claims Obama administration tried to undermine Trump in 2016. It says Democrats denounced a report issued by the Office of the DNI as politically motivated and error-ridden, right? Of course, there's a whole bunch of fucking, like, inaccuracies in here. The Office of DNI on Friday issued the latest in a series of reports from the Trump admin attempting to undermine the 8-year-old assessment that Russia favored the election of Donald Trump in 2016. Which we did. We know it's true. We know they helped him win. Tulsi Gabbard said the information she was releasing showed a treasonous conspiracy. Oh, shit. Democrats denounced the effort as politically motivated, error-ridden, and in contradiction with previous reviews of the assessment. Representative Jim Himes of Connecticut, the top Dem on the House Intelligence Committee, called Ms. Gabbard's accusation of treason baseless. Intelligence agencies and Senate investigators spent years reviewing the work. That's just it. These guys, our entire Congress has spent years looking at this, okay? And concluded that during the 2016 election, the Russians conducted probing operations of systems to see if they could change vote outcomes. While they extracted voter registration data in Illinois and Arizona, so they actually pulled some data out, right? And probed in other states, there was no evidence that Moscow's hackers attempted to actually change votes. The Obama admin assessment never contended the Russian hackers manipulated votes. Russia also conducted influence operations. This was a big one here to change public opinion. That included using fake social media posts to sow division among Americans, leaking documents stolen from the DNC to denigrate Hillary Clinton, and multiple reviews, including, look at this. You ready? Multiple reviews, including a Republican-led Senate report, backed the findings of American spy agencies in late 2016 that Russia was trying to influence the election by damaging Miss Clinton's campaigns and bolstering Mr. Trump. Okay, so the Republican-led Senate report had the same findings, okay? Among the Republican senators on the Intelligence Committee that produced those reports was, who was it? Oh, it was little Marco. Little Marco. He even said they did it, right? The new report by Ms. Gabbard's staff conflates these two activities by the Russians and tries to suggest that the Obama admin forced the intelligence community to alter its conclusions. You see what she's saying there? She's trying to say that the intelligence community said they didn't change votes. Okay, Sam, let's go, baby. She's trying to say they didn't change votes, and what happened was then Obama pressured them to say Russia meddled. But the fact of the matter is we know Russia meddled, and we know they tried to see if they could maybe change votes, but they didn't actually change votes. But those were two separate things. They were not a Obama, oh, they didn't change votes. Well, let's say this now, okay? The findings that Ms. Gabbard's office highlighted an email from an assistant to a previous director of national intelligence, James Clapper, that said Obama was seeking a new assessment of the tools used and the actions it took to influence the 2016 elections. Let's go, Dan. Appreciate you, boss. Let's go, baby. Maybe we'll get that together. But there you go. So once they found out they didn't change votes, Obama said, well, I want an assessment on what they did do. Okay? Like, we get it. They didn't change votes. They didn't hack the voting machines. So they didn't, like, the election is valid and fine and safe and secure. But what did they do? Give me a report on what they did do. Still, it has long been known that Obama had tasked intelligence officials to review the material they had collected and report what they learned before they left office. We all knew this. Obama said this shit out loud. Dude, this was public knowledge. At the time, Obama administration officials said they worried the intelligence assessment would be buried when Trump took office. So they wanted it before Trump buried it. Okay? And a CIA review released this month took issue with the speed with which the assessment was conducted. The CIA then referred John Brennan, the former director, to the FBI for criminal investigation. The report released on Friday highlighted there was no indication of a Russian threat to directly manipulate the actual vote, but we knew that. That then contrasted that with the spy agency's ultimate conclusion that Putin aspired to help Trump's election chances. Okay, the report focused on a decision intelligence officials made at the time against producing an article for the president's daily briefing that would have said the Russians did not impact recent elections by conducting malicious cyber activities against election infrastructure. Okay? But Senator Mark Warner, the top Democrat on the Intelligence Committee, said the new report compared two different things: Russia's attempt to hack voting systems and Russian influence operations meant to influence the voting itself, right? The public opinion. That's the shit that they really did, right? This is one more example of the DNI trying to cook the books. And this is exactly what it is, okay? This is exactly what it is. Like, she's trying to conflate the two, that, oh, they told Obama that there was no interference from hacking, and then Obama said, well, I want to have a report on Russian interference. But I mean, that's kind of what happened, but it's a little different. It's like Obama and Biden found out that there was no hacking, okay? The election was secure. The votes were not changed. They tried to get voter rolls in Illinois and Arizona. They actually got access to some voter data, but they didn't change any votes. And then Obama said, all right, before Trump gets inaugurated, so he can't bury this, I want an assessment of what they did do. Show me how they meddled, okay? Show me how they meddled. And that's all that happened. And now they're trying to create it with some fucking treason claims and all this bullshit. And why? Because Trump was fucking teenage girls with, Jeffrey Epstein. And they're, right? Cenk Uygur got in there and said, oh, I think somebody meddled. Somebody's meddling with my pee-pee. Dude, let's go. Shit, boss. Yeah. So this is their big game, dude. It was a campaign of spreading disinformation through Facebook. It was the hack of the DNC. I mean, dude, it was, I'm sure they did other social media shit that we probably don't even know about, but definitely they were doing shit on Facebook, where it is scary how the ad targeting goes, right? Like manipulated ad campaigns are so crazy. Hold on. I'm going to start a goal for a dance. All right. We're going to do a dance goal. All right. We're going to give it 1 hour. I'm going to fucking do a dance goal every hour. So, dude, maybe we have more than one dance party per stream. Fuck it. All right, there we go. Ready? Dance goal. Fucking ready to go, baby. 1 hour. Let's go. All right. So anyway, I thought this was pretty crazy because what's wild about this, guys, is if you look at it, the right-wing people are like, they were all using the exact same language today. This was all they fucking talked about, okay? These right-wing MFers. If you look at these people today, right, it was their huge thing, okay? If you go, it's been fucking like on Fox News all day. Look at this. This is the most alarming act of treason since the Lincoln assassination, right? Obama manufactured the Russia hoax, okay? I'm hearing we can't put Obama in handcuffs because that might cause civil unrest. Dude, oh my God, dude. Schellenberger says there's proof. Look at how they're using capitals. These are all like YouTube titles. Proof. Barack Obama used the intelligence community as a PR arm. Dude, Tanya, let's go. Tanya, let's go. Appreciate that. Dude, look at this, though. Right? Look at this. This took a lot of courage from Tulsi Gabbard. Arrest Obama for treason? Oh, my God, dude. President Trump just posted this, right? Again, it's an accusation. Dude, Fontucky, let's go, baby. Right? It's an accusation, but this shit is nonsense, right? You know what I'm saying? And attempted a coup? Oh my God, they're saying Barack Obama attempted a coup? Dude. Oh, this is funny, bro. They're on it with their little graphic with an X and a circle and some news strips. I mean, it's a, big double circle down here. It's a nice little graphic, right? It is. It's a good looking graphic. But the reality is like all of this stuff that they're alleging in here was public knowledge, okay? It was public knowledge. We knew this. Once they found out that the voting machines had not been hacked and no voter roll data had actually been accessed other than Illinois and Arizona, then they created an assessment of how did Russia meddle. And all of that shit later became part of the Mueller investigation, and all of this was right out in the open. But as you can see, right, this is just, it's been their daily narrative, right? It's been their daily narrative. Dude, Aaron, let's go. You need a dance? All right, we're getting a dance, right? Let's go. Devo in Oakland? Let's go. Whip it good. Whip it real good. Dude, Our Lady Peace. Dude, I've seen Our Lady Peace. Good show. Good show. Dude, look at this shit, bro. It is going ape, but it is going ape, right, on right-wing media. But it's crazy because if you're a right-winger, this is all that was in their media today is like Obama committed treason. That's their day, guys. Their day in right-wing media was forget about Epstein. Obama committed treason. Even though Obama didn't commit treason, he's not going to be arrested. There's no fucking evidence of anything. So all of this is going to go nowhere. It's going to fizzle out. And then they're going to blame the deep state, right? But this was their shit, right? Look at that. Show overwhelming evidence. Dude, there's no evidence. There's nothing. They say overwhelming evidence, right? And dude, we can damn sure arrest Obama. Let's see, dude. Let's see if Obama gets arrested. Okay? Let's see if Obama gets arrested. I hate to say it, guys. I don't think Obama's getting arrested. Okay? I'd be willing to bet this house that Obama doesn't get arrested and there's no information about fucking treason and shit. Now this we do need to watch, all right? Because now we're getting on the real cause of this Obama output today, which is Donald Trump's Epstein scenario, okay? Right? Epstein scenario. You know what I mean? What do I think is the breaking point, right? The breaking point for who, 𝗙ecie, right? The breaking point for the MAGA people? You talking about like MAGA and Epstein? Because like, here's the deal, guys. You ready? So I don't think there is a breaking point. I mean, Trump sexually assaulted 𝗙𝗙𝗏 and they just believe it's made up. So even, you know what I'm saying? Dude, let's go, DB. You know what I'm saying? So even if he's all over those fucking files, even if he's in there and there's testimony from girls that Trump raped her when she was a teenager, they're not going to believe it. They will not believe no matter what evidence. You know what I'm saying? No matter what evidence is confronted with Trump, they are not going to believe it. See, I think the damning thing here is the fact that Trump is covering it up and they think he's not on the list. And so they're like, why is he covering it up? Which is really damning for him because then it looks like he's protecting the deep state cabal. But dude, they're not, they would never believe it. But this is really interesting here because one of the things here, guys, is just looking at the overall arc of Donald Trump. Okay. This is what we have to look at. You have to look like, for example, okay. Do you guys familiar with the way criminal cases work? Okay, so what happens with criminal cases, guys, is sometimes you have direct evidence that shows they committed something. You have DNA evidence, you have eyewitness fucking like things, you may have a confession, you have direct evidence. You may have the gun with their fingerprints on it and the bullet. You know they committed this crime. But a huge part of the legal, guys, a huge part of winning a trial is based on circumstantial evidence, which means it looks like it. Like, let me give you an example. If you're doing a murder case where a guy killed his wife and you're selling it as a crime of passion when he found out she was cheating on him, then a whole bunch of evidence of this guy hitting his wife or being physical with her out in a restaurant, all of that is circumstantial evidence that shows you that, yeah, this guy had a history of outrageous fucking violent behavior around his wife. So naturally, when he found out she was cheating on him with his friend, he flipped out and killed her. And that creates a believable story with circumstantial evidence, right? You know what I'm saying? And so that's really important, like building this character of like showing prior behavior with this person that leads to an assumption of guilt, right? Establishing a pattern, establishing a type of character, right? And then there may be other circumstantial things of like, 2 hours of his time is unaccounted for, right? There was, you know what I mean? They found, something from the crime scene somewhere near his house, which is more circumstantial evidence, etc. But so one of the things about Trump with Epstein is we know they were friends and we know that they hung in the same party circles he was on the plane. But now what they're starting to cull through is all these examples of Trump being a predator examples of Trump being a skeezer around young girls. And this is one of the examples. Okay, this is Donald Trump judges the 1991 Look of the Year modeling competition. Okay, it was organized by Elite Model Management. Those of you who don't know Elite Model Management, Elite Models was like the biggest model agency, the biggest modeling agency in the 80s and 90s in New York City. It was run by John Casablancas. You may recognize that name. His son Julian is in the band The Strokes. Okay, John Casablancas had a long history of sketchy interactions. And there was a lot of hubbub around elite modeling back in the day that, they were hooking up with the girls. And a lot of these models, right? I don't know what you know about the fashion industry, but a lot of these models, guys, are they're 14, they're 15, and they're rail skinny. They're young girls, and they get modeling contracts, and then they whisk the girls off to Paris and Milan and shit, and they live with a bunch of other model girls, and they get wined and dined by these fashion people, and it's a very predatory type existence. Dude, let's go, Fontucky. It's super predatory, and there have been rumors about this. I know a model. She's in Salt Lake City now. She runs her own modeling agency, but I knew her in the early 2000s. She was part of that set, and she definitely had some stories. There's a lot of, the modeling industry is, a lot of it is predatory photographers, predatory agents, predatory producers of campaigns, where they photograph these women, they give them money, and they get a lot of fame and accolades, but then they try to fuck them, right? They try to hook up with them. They fucking have these crazy parties. I mean, it's pretty gnarly. It's pretty gnarly, and it's really complicated because if you're a 14-year-old girl, 15-year-old girl that gets whisked off to Paris, and all of a sudden you're in the room with the biggest names in fashion and the biggest names in society, there's a lot of pressure on you to not say no. You know what I mean? To not be a killjoy. You don't they don't really have the toolbox to be able to say, fuck you. I'm not fucking doing this, because they'll have no fucking career. You know what I mean? You blame the parents? No, you can't really blame the parents, because the parents are just trying to, help their kids be successful. You should blame the people that are abusing them, Hernan, because girls should be able to go to modeling in Europe and not be fucking skeezed on by 40-year-old men. You know what I'm saying? They should be able to exist in the modeling profession without that profession, creating an environment where they're supposed to have sex with old men in order to have a fucking job. We should blame rape culture and fucking patriarchy and blame this culture of, women not being able to, express themselves in a fucking empowered sort of way when we have these systems. I mean, just look at this. Look at the whole situation here around this. What you're about to watch. You're about to watch teenage girls in these tiny fucking bathing suits having to walk in front of a table of men. And the table of men are looking at their asses and their tits and their bodies, and they're asking them to turn around, and they're totally skeezing on them and rating them according to how badly they want to have sex with them, and then possibly offering them a career of a lifetime. They have so much fucking power. And yes, we got to blame the predators. You know what I'm saying? We got to blame the predators. But here is Donald Trump judging the 1991 Look of the Year modeling competition organized by John Casablancas Elite Model Management, featuring participants as young as 14 years old. A 2020 Guardian investigation into Elite's Look of the Year competition uncovered allegations from former contestants and industry insiders that the competition was used by founder John Casablancas and others to engage in sexual relationships with vulnerable young models, some of whom were teenagers. All right, let's watch this clip.
the 58 contestants participated in an exhaustive round of personal interviews designed to help our judges discover what makes each one special.
You're 5'9" reading? Serious, huh? We measure again tonight before.
So they're having personal interviews designed to let the judges figure out what makes them special, but meanwhile they're fucking dressed in fucking dental floss and shit.
Okay. Thank you very much, Amy.
The concentration was intense inside the judging room.
They don't like you as you are.
And then look at this. Look at all these girls, right? Right? These girls are now like they want to be famous models. They want to have a modeling career. They want to be on the cover of Vogue magazine. And the point being is you should be able to be on the cover of Vogue magazine without having to be a lure and prey for a series of degenerate, powerful old men that are just trying to fuck you in order to allow you to have that opportunity, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah.
And out.
I'm just so excited.
Each girl was considered not only for her beauty and poise, but also for her personality and that indefinable something extra that makes a top model.
Okay, you want to pull your hair back 1 second? Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Ingrid. Good luck for tonight.
Thank you.
When it came time to choose the 21 finalists, emotions ran high as each judge expressed his or her opinion.
Now again, looking for models inherently it's understandable to like look for models, right? But again though, right? Again, the thing about it is the trying to find modeling talent is one thing, but hurting women out and using finding modeling talent as a front to have sex with young girls who are vulnerable and willing to do whatever it takes to get a job, right, is super toxic. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, all of these guys are like 50, bro. Right? And these girls are fucking teens, man. And that's just it, right? You know what I'm saying? Dude. Yeah, so this shit is crazy, boss. Okay? Now, in addition to this, we have Dick Durbin right here. Okay. Yeah, here it is. So we also have this. We have Dick Durbin. This, guys, is huge. Okay? This is something that happened in the lead up. Because remember, guys, how Pam Bondi and everybody, Bongino, 𝗙cie𝗶𝗶𝗆, remember how they said, we have the Epstein files. I got the list on my desk. Okay? This shit is coming out. We're releasing all this. Then all of a sudden, out of the blue, they changed their mind. Case closed. He wasn't killed. He committed suicide. There's no list. There's nothing we can do. We have no Johns. There's no perps to even arrest. Sorry. It's just a bunch of 𝗙cie videos, yada, yada, yada. Well, you know what happened between those two things, guys? Between Pam Bondi saying, I have the list on my desk, and then Pam Bondi and 𝗙cie𝗶𝗆 saying, there isn't a list, and sorry, guys, we're wrapping this thing up. What happened in between was this. The FBI was asked to flag everything that mentioned Trump. Okay? That was an order that was given. Okay? Dude, hold on, let me see if I can get this article. It looks like we're getting paywalled. Hold on, we're going to try and get the article. All right, we got it. We're getting paywalled, but we got unpaywalled. All right? Shh. Renegade. But, okay, so here we go. Dick Durbin said 1,000 FBI agents were instructed to flag any records related to Jeffrey Epstein that mentioned President Trump. 1,000 FBI agents, man. You know what I'm saying? Isn't that crazy? They had a huge portion of the FBI culling through this Epstein stuff, just flagging Donald Trump. So this is what happened between A and B, guys. A, I got the list on my desk. We're releasing it any day. B, there is no list. Sorry, guys, case closed. In between, 1,000 agents flagging every time Trump's name came up. Okay, why it matters. In multiple letters sent to top justice and FBI officials, Durbin sought to press for more answers from the DOJ that is engulfed by the Epstein investigation fallout. Durbin said the FBI agents were pressured to review about 100,000 Epstein-related records from March 14th to the end of March. Many of the agents lacked the expertise to identify statutorily protected information regarding child victims and child witnesses. Durbin pointed out that Attorney General Pam Bondi's previous past statements that she would release additional documents directly contradicted the DOJ's about face earlier this month when the department said no additional releases would happen. Okay, the letters asked Bondi, FBI Director 𝗙ście Patel, and Dan Bongino if they personally reviewed all of the files in the DOJ's possession, if they personally reviewed it. Durbin also questioned why personnel were told to flag records in which Trump was mentioned and what happened to the records mentioning the president once they were flagged. Okay, Durbin's letter concluded with a request for top DOJ officials to provide information and materials to a range of questions by August 1st. Isn't that wild? Dude, that's some crazy fucking shit, bro. Okay, hold on. Let me see here. Let's see if we can find information here. All right, let's watch a little report.
Good evening from New York. I'm Chris Hayes. Donald Trump is doing his best to fight his way out of the Jeffrey Epstein mess he has created for himself. Tonight, filing a lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal and News Corp and Rupert Murdoch himself for their report of his alleged birthday letter to Epstein.
So that did happen. He did file a libel suit. Okay, today a libel suit was filed. This thing's not going to go anywhere, but he did in response to the Wall Street Journal thing, he did file a libel suit, okay, that sues Dow Jones, that is the parent company of the Wall Street Journal, News Corp, Rupert Murdoch, and 2 reporters for libel. Okay, now, this is, again, I think he's doing it wondering if they're just going to pay him out. Man, I'm telling you, these motherfuckers better not pay this shit out. Because every time they pay it out, he gets to present it as though he won something. Okay, I want to go to Discovery. All right, this needs to go to Discovery. We need to get in there and we need to go through this. By the way, guys, you may have remembered, I don't know if you remember, but remember when he sued Bob Woodward? Look what happened today, guys. Right here. Donald Trump's lawsuit against Bob Woodward over his audiobook was dismissed. Oh, remember that? Remember when Bob Woodward released his audiobook? Trump sued him. That case just got dismissed. All right. As would this one, too. Like 99% of Trump's cases get dismissed. He usually sues for defamation. Yeah, but so Renee, what it is libel is when it's written, it's libel. Okay, you sue for defamation when libel is defamation, but in a written form. Okay, so if it's a video of somebody talking about you, you would sue them for defamation. If they write a story about you, then they sue you for libel. So it is defamation. It's just defamation based on the written word. Okay, so it right. It's the same fucking, it's the same thing. It's just the medium. But we're going to come to that. But again, dude, this lawsuit's going to go nowhere. But he filed it, Okay, he filed it. It's his right. Trumpy's filing the big lawsuit. All right, he pooped. We're all looking at it. Oh, good one, Trumpy. Good poopy. Good job. But anyway, here we go.
This while his Department of Justice scrambles to kind of appear to release some of the Epstein files in an effort, obviously, to placate his agitated MAGA base. We're going to get to the lawsuit in a minute. But first, the Department of Justice filed a motion to unseal grand jury information from both the case of late child sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein and his associate, currently in federal prison, Ghislaine Maxwell. On its face, it appears to be a good thing because people want transparency. They want the files released. But there's a huge caveat here. Not only is the department going to redact identifying information about the victims, which they very well should, they are also going to redact identifying information about anyone else whose name might come up in the documents in question. Quote, the department will work with the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York to make appropriate redactions of victim-related information and other personal identifying information prior to releasing the transcript.
Yeah, you see that? Even what he said, how they're going to release the grand jury transcripts, they're going to fucking redact the personally identifying information, which is like, what is the fucking whole point? Okay, great. You're going to release the grand jury transcripts, but you're going to get rid of all the people in it? Dude.
Obviously, all victim-related information absolutely should be.
Of course,
must be
the
redacted.
victim shit should be out.
But also, like, why redact the other personal identifying information? I mean, if you are trying to look like you're transparent, avoid looking like you're covering something up, that seems like probably not the best way to go about it. But that is not the only big revelation we got today. The top Democrat on the Senate Judiciary Committee, which of course oversees the FBI and the Department of Justice, now says that the Bureau agents were instructed to flag to DOJ about any Epstein records that mention Donald Trump. Get this is a new letter out today to Attorney General Pam Bondi from Ranking Member Dick Durbin, who writes this, quote, according to information my office received, you pressured the FBI to put approximately 1,000 personnel in its information management division on 24-hour shifts to review approximately 100,000 Epstein-related records, adding, quote, my office was told these personnel were instructed to flag any records in which President Trump was mentioned. What? And all this comes just a day after that shocking story in the Wall Street Journal.
Dude, that's insane. Think about that. Think about like what that says. They went in there, they had all the Epstein files, they had all the information here, and instead of compiling the list, instead of preparing a report, they literally put 1,000 agents on there to flag where President Trump's name comes up. And then nobody knows what they did with it after they flagged it. But after they did this operation in March, shortly thereafter, there's no list, there's no impropriety, we don't have any fucking, right? We don't have any, there's nobody to prosecute. It's just like, whoopsie. Oh shit. Oh yeah, it's nothing to see here, guys. After 1,000 FBI agents flag everything with Trump's name on it, all of a sudden, the whole thing doesn't exist. I mean, it's not sus or anything, is it?
About what the paper described as a, quote, bawdy birthday letter bearing Trump's signature, written to Epstein back in 2003 before his first arrest. Quoting from the Journal's description, the letter bearing Trump's name, which was reviewed by the Journal, is bawdy, like others in the album. It contains several lines of typewritten text framed by the outline of a naked woman, which appears to be hand-drawn with a heavy marker. A pair of small arcs denotes the woman's breasts, and the future president's signature is a squiggly Donald below her waist, mimicking pubic hair. The Journal says that inside the outline of the naked woman was an imaginary typewritten conversation between Trump and Epstein, the third person, which included this line, Donald, enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? And ended with Trump. A pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret.
Yeah, not sus at all.
What's more, The document in question was at one point in possession of the DOJ, or at the very least, it was something reviewed by Department of Justice investigators in their prosecutions of Epstein and or his accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell.
Well, you know what's funny, Frecky, is not only did he make a personalized birthday card, but what we saw yesterday was that there was one point in the 90s where Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein threw a party. He threw a party for just the two of them. 28 girls, okay? It was 28 girls and Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein for a private fucking party. So, like, real close. Yeah, isn't that insane? He spent a huge amount of money on this private fucking party with 28 young ladies and the two of them, right? And so, again, not a random, okay? That is like the most intimate of intimate fucking people.
To be clear, Trump denies having anything to do with the letter. He is suing the Wall Street Journal over this reporting after having threatened to do so. Quoting from the paper, in an interview with the Journal on Tuesday evening, Trump denied writing the letter or drawing the picture. "This is not me. This is a fake thing. It's a fake Wall Street Journal story," he said. "I never wrote a picture in my life. I don't draw pictures of women," he said. "It's not my language. It's not my words." Of course, Donald Trump has written many pictures in his life, like the ones you are seeing on your screen right now. In fact, people have been surfacing these pictures all day. It seems to be kind of like a thing he's into, actually. I've got to say, when the whole Epstein story first resurfaced, with the 2-page memo from the Department of Justice saying, it's done, case closed, nothing to see here, no client list, no nothing, right?
No client list.
My first instinct was not that there was an active cover-up of stuff about Donald Trump in the files. I thought most likely was that this administration, people around him, had very cynically hyped up the quote-unquote Epstein files to reach and mobilize a certain quadrant of voters. And then they realized they had overpromised and were going to underdeliver. And man, did they overpromise.
This is something Donald Trump has talked about. The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients.
Oh, here we go, Pammy.
Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now.
It's sitting on my desk.
That's been a directive by President Trump.
I think tomorrow, Jesse, breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released by my office. What you're going to see, hopefully tomorrow, is a lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information.
A lot of names, a lot of information. Oh, by the way, 1,000 FBI agents flagged everything with Trump's name on it. And guess what? We don't have any documents left. I think that's what happened, right? We got all the files. Then she got 1,000 FBI agents to flag everything with Donald Trump's name on it. And at the end of it, there were like 2 pieces of paper left. Right? They're like, oh shit, there's nothing left. We don't have a list. We don't have anything, right? The whole thing is gone, dude. They flagged it all. The only thing left was like a birthday card from his fucking step uncle and a fucking, a fucking canceled check for a subscription to Cosmopolitan magazine. That's it, right? Oh, shit.
Colbert said yesterday that all the Epstein files are missing. Can you confirm the status of them? We still haven't heard from you.
No, the FBI, the FBI, they're reviewing, there are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims. And no one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume, and that's what they're going through right now. The FBI is diligently going through that.
But Bondi's obsession with the Epstein files wasn't just her freelancing. It's fair to assume it was coordinated with the White House, right? This is not an independent DOJ. Everything Bondi does is coordinated with the White House. The DOJ works for the White House in a way that no DOJ has ever worked for the White House since Nixon, at least. So then, and that's established, right? The question becomes, well, why did this White House abruptly shift course? Why did the DOJ come out last week and say, you know what? Nothing to see.
All gone.
Why has Donald Trump been spiraling ever since? I mean, we know he and Epstein were friends for years. The writer Michael Wolff has a recording of Epstein himself saying he was Trump's closest friend for a decade. Back in 2002, he told the New York Magazine that he'd known him for 15 years. Fun guy. If we couple this with today's revelations from Senator Durbin, which are gobsmacking, that 1,000 FBI agents doing 24-hour shifts, tasked with flagging mentions of Trump in their Epstein research. And then the Wall Street Journal letter, as well as the fact that DOJ wants to redact not just victim-related stuff, but other personal identifying information. Well, I mean, at a certain point, the most plausible explanation for the facts is that there's some kind of cover-up here.
Something, yes.
The DOJ was tasked with vetting Epstein materials for mentions of the president Donald Trump, his buddy of 15 years, who said that Jeffrey Epstein liked young women. And then subsequently, a decision was made not to release any more information on Epstein.
Weird.
Now, the Wall Street Journal makes clear that we don't know if this letter bearing Trump's signature, previously reviewed by the Department of Justice, was among the documents reviewed by this administration, right? That, like, some FBI agent was like, whoa, gosh, you got to see this, and flagged it. But if it was, and again, that seems plausible if it's in the record, it's hard not to see why they might come to the decision to just shut the whole Epstein thing down. Alex Wagner is an MSNBC senior political analyst. 𝗙ǐcia Rubin is an MSNBC legal correspondent.
I like 𝗙ǐcia
just
Rubin.
published a new piece about Trump firing Epstein
Dude,
prosecutor
I like
𝗙𝗏,
her.
and they join me now. Alex, let me start with you because, you know, I am so struck by this Durbin letter, partly because Dick Durbin is not a showboat.
Yeah, the Durbin letter is disturbing. Okay, it is. I mean, because Dick Durbin, he's an old guy. He is like an old process guy. He's not out there like being one of these reps who's like walking around with the vertical video trying to make TikTok content to go viral, right? I mean, he's an old guy, a paper pushing fucking old man. And so when he starts writing letters about, you know, investigating inside the FBI, we know that it's you know, it's a little more significant than, you know, seeing Nancy Mace run around in front of the camera or some shit.
Like, this is not a guy who's like gonna go on social media and try to get attention. Like, and is also not going to commit this to writing to the Attorney General without some real information. The idea that 1,000 agents working 24 hours and told to flag stuff, that strikes me as a pretty wild.
BFD, I think, Chris, is the official term for it. 1,000 of them, and the belief somehow, I mean, this is an exercise in hubris unlike anything I've ever seen. The idea that you're going to have 1,000 agents working under the explicit order to weed out the Trump stuff, and that's not somehow going to leak, but also Trump's strategy from the beginning, right? This is a person who in 2015 at 𝗙PAC is trying to impugn the reputation of Bill Clinton by mentioning Clinton's activities on Epstein Island. Trump is obsessed with Epstein. Trump gives, you know, curries favor with people who are also obsessed with Epstein and what he's done. Trump plays footsie in interviews during the campaign, saying he will release the Epstein files, even if he sort of dances around it. He entertains the idea. Trump allies himself with people who are obsessed with Epstein, and then, Chris, populates his administration. The top levels of his administration, his attorney general, his FBI director, and his vice president, all obsessed with Jeffrey Epstein. He does this on his own accord, knowing, presumably, we can only gather, Chris, that he himself is in the Epstein files.
All over it.
It is like the self-sabotage to make these choices over the course of a decade, knowing that if he won, the chickens were going to come home to roost. And what does he do now? I mean, it is truly, it boggles the mind.
I mean, dude, he's never been one to make good decisions, okay? If you follow his career is just like one bad decision after another, after another, after another.
Frey's own goal isn't like, it's truly, it is the most hubristic thing I've seen from a man who has pushed the bounds of hubris to the outer reaches of the universe. But this is a problem completely of his own creating. He brought these people in. They are asking for results. He built a movement on it, and now he sits atop it, potentially indicted in the crime that he has made everybody obsessed with. Unbelievable.
Oh, shit, we never got to 𝗙ǐcia Rubin. They cut it off. All right, so yeah, so there you go. All right, 1,000 agents are clocking this shit, looking for Trump. Okay. And now my thumbnail, I thought I tried to do the woman, right? I tried to do the woman with the Trump signature. I think I did a pretty good job. There you go. There you go. There's my little artist rendition for the thumbnail of today's video about this. Let's go. Dude, not bad, huh? Right? All right. Dude, there we go. Maybe I did it. Maybe I created the fucking thing. What was I doing in 2003? Dude, the signature pubes, right? Let's go, dude. I love it, though. You got the fucking, all the people like looking at him over here. Good shit, right? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Picasso. You know, Trump's woman didn't look like that. Yeah, I didn't draw it, guys. I did not draw that. I pulled it off the internet. Okay, just so you know, I couldn't draw like that. Not a chance, right? But I can pull shit off the internet and fucking, right? I can pull shit off the internet and modify it to make it look good. Okay, but I did not. I didn't draw the thing. Okay, not that talented. But now, guys, we're going to take a fucking little dip here into the Katie Johnson scenario. So those of you who may or may not know about Katie Johnson, let me just pull this up. So Katie Johnson, back in 2016, filed a lawsuit in, I believe it was in like Temecula, California or something. It was somewhere in San Bernardino County. Okay. She filed a lawsuit and no, Bradshaw, I've seen that clip in the video, right? Like, I don't care about that shit, right? The Trump, whatever, rambling. None of that really matters. We know he's in the fucking files, right? He's alluded to it. Not Katie Holmes. This is Katie Johnson. Okay. So Katie Johnson, she filed this suit in 2016, originally as Jane Doe. And then she went and her name was on the lawsuit. And this was a claim that when she was 13, Donald Trump raped her. Okay. And there have been other young girls who have made claims like this. So what happened is, I guess this suit was filed in the San Bernardino County area of California. And then it just disappeared. She dropped it. She cited like threats. But there's a video circulating that we're going to watch here. There's this video circulating where she is blurred out. If you look at this, okay, let's see. So if you look up Katie Johnson, okay, if you look up Katie Johnson, there is a thing here that shows an image, okay? She sued him for allegedly raping her. This was at Jeffrey Epstein's New York home. Okay, yeah, we do need 4 more super chats. We got 17 minutes, though. We got plenty of time. But so it was that $80 million home. Okay, Wexner, the guy that Epstein represented, gave him this crazy, it's like the biggest house in New York City. Okay, and so she made the claim that Trump raped her in Epstein's New York home when she was 13. And then after multiple death threats, okay, she gave up the suit, okay? Now it says here, a 2016 lawsuit by Katie Johnson alleged Trump and Epstein raped her at 13 in 1994 at Epstein's New York home. It was dropped after reported death threats. Allegations are unproven. It's never gone to trial. And some sources question credibility due to hoax links, okay? And so there's never been any proof to this. Okay. It's been around, but it's one of those things where it's always been sort of, you know, in the ether. Now, the thing about this, guys, is I think part of the reason why there's some credibility to this, okay, is because she's not the only girl who has made these types of allegations. Okay, again, going back to that discussion we had about circumstantial evidence, it's like if there was no impropriety of Donald Trump whatsoever, and some random 13-year-old person comes forward and says, hey, man, I am like, I got raped by Donald Trump when I was 13. It would be completely understandable to put a lot of doubt and skepticism on that claim, even though you want to try to believe victims, right? But it would be like, it would at least seem out of character, okay? But in this situation, there have been 27 credible rape accusations. There have been a number of women under the age of 18 who have said that Donald Trump sexually abused them, sexually assaulted them, skeezed on them at beauty pageants. There have been instances of him being involved in like the look you competition with elite models, which has had an era of like guys hooking up with teenage girls. Of course, he's friends with Jeffrey Epstein, the sex trafficker. He's trying to put Matt Gaetz, a sex trafficker and a guy who has sex with teenage girls, into the attorney general spot. I mean, there's just so much evidence around Trump engaging in this behavior or being right on the boundaries of this behavior happening that it's just ultimately really believable, okay? It is just really believable. But anyway, I want to watch this video, okay? So here's some of the stuff here. Is she alleged that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein made her their sex slave, extreme sexual and physical abuse, forcible rape over a 4-month time span when she was only 13, right? It was in the New York City apartment. And I guess there were a lot of like pretty raw claims around this, you know? And you know what I mean? That is not her. That is Ivanka. Okay. That is Trump and Ivanka. So that is not her. But this allegation has been around quite a bit. There's quite a bit of fucking, you know, see, there's indications here about, with some pretty strong language. Like what was wild about this, if you look into this suit, is there's actually like some really strong language that describes the acts of what happened in sort of excruciating detail. Okay. And so if you want to check out Ryan Sheed, he posted a lot of this shit. He's a guy who is a former vet who has a podcast and is like a Twitter bro. He's pretty interesting dude. And so he assembled a thing about a whole thread and has been posting a lot about this. But this has been around for a long time, okay? Now, let's go ahead and watch this video, some of this video. I don't know if we'll watch the whole thing, but we'll watch a little bit of it and see what we think.
Interview on my free will. No, there was nothing promised to me for doing this interview.
Excellent.
Yes, everything that I say at this interview will be the truth. I met Donald Trump at some parties I attend that I was working for Mr. Jeffrey Epstein. There was about 3 or 4 times that I had encounters with Donald Trump. I was 13. The first time that I met Donald Trump was at a party at Jeffrey Epstein's mansion. There was an orgy going on, and he was kind of watching off in the distance. And he basically asked if I could come over and give him a hand job. And at first, I wasn't very comfortable with it. This was like my first or second, first party, and I didn't.
Now, one thing we should note here is that was sort of a staple of Jeffrey Epstein was getting the handy. The handy was like, he used to have massages and expect a handy. That was like his big, that was his big fucking hoo-yah, right?
I didn't think that was my responsibility, but my recruiter told me that I needed to do it, so I agreed to. And then he, I began to, sorry, this is a little difficult, but before I gave him a hand job, he kind of slapped my hand away and said, you need to use a glove. And the recruiter ran over and handed me a glove and said, no one touches Mr. Trump's penis without a glove. So I needed to use a glove. I gave him a hand job, and then immediately after, he had an orgasm, he left, and I didn't see him again at that party.
Oh shit! Now that was a Trump handy. Oh, gotta use a glove. Now, what's interesting is, again, that sounds weird, but Trump is a crazy germaphobe, right? He is well known to be a significant germaphobe. So that could track. But anyway.
Jeffrey Epstein is a billionaire friend of Donald Trump's that was responsible for throwing the sex parties. I originally came to New York trying to be a model, and in my travels I met a girl named Tiffany there who was very interested in me and said that that's what she did, is that she helped girls get what they wanted, and she could help me get into modeling, that she knew a lot of people that were higher ups and that it would be no problem. And so that's why, but I would just basically have to come model at a couple of events and meet some people. It would be no sweat. So, of course I went, that sounded like no big deal. And she was recruiting the girls to come to these parties. And they all looked, most of them were, my age. There was, maybe a couple girls that were maybe 14 or 15, but it seemed to me like we were all very young, so. Okay. Jeffrey Epstein knew that I was 13 years old. When he interviewed me, he asked me to get down to my bra, just my panties, and I thought that was weird, but modeling, maybe it was something about my figure. And he asked that I give him a massage. So then he asked me my age. He asked me, and I told him, told him that I was 13. I told him why I was there. And he basically said, well, you'll do, I'm sure that you'll fit pretty nicely here. And then he tried to basically slip himself inside of me, and I pushed him away, and I said, because at that point in time I still believed that there was models and then there was the girls that did that. Like, I thought there was a separation. So I told him that I wasn't interested in that, but he said that I would do. And as far as Donald Trump, he knew that I was 13, and I believe that Tiffany told him he seemed to take a liking to me because I was I was so young, and I was also a virgin. So I don't know. It seemed like he wasn't really into having girls that were liked by the other guys. He kind of, the whole glove. He kind of liked things to be his first. If that, for lack of a better term, but he was the one who wanted to get to a girl before everyone else did. Donald Trump knew that I was 13 because the first night that I was there, Tiffany actually suggested that she had a whole bunch of different wigs, and I expressed interest in them. I always told her that I would love to walk around with blue hair, and so I tried some on, and there was a blonde wig that she said that looked great on me. So I wore that wig, and Donald Trump had specifically asked about me because I remind him of his daughter, and she said, well, she's 13 as well. So he knew the first time that he saw me, but he took a liking to me because I look like his daughter.
Yikes, dude. Sam, $2. Thank you, boss. Let's go. We're almost there to the dance party. That thing, she looked like his daughter. Dude, it's why when you search, right? When you search Katie Johnson, dude, she was young. Right? But if you search her on Twitter, you see that photo, right? Where this photo, right? Where you see her really young, look at her. And then right around that time, there was fucking Trump's daughter. So yes, you see, absolutely. And dude, today we put some clips on the internet of Trump talking about sex referring to his daughter, which is so fucking creepy, but not completely unbelievable. Now, I wanted to address I wanted to address something to somebody in chat had said something about where are these girls' fathers. You need to understand, guys, that girls that get into this situation, it's like usually they're kids that don't have healthy boundary relationships, right? It's like girls that are growing up without good relationships with the father that find themselves being prey for these types of dudes, okay? These guys aren't, right? It's like girls from broken homes, girls from alcoholic families, girls where maybe they're getting abused at home. They're the ones that are most susceptible to these types of like, I'll take you in kind of things. And then they fucking deal with shit. You know what I mean? And I mean, all I can tell you is for me, guys, I was sexually abused by 2 half brothers in 2nd grade. Okay. And I didn't figure it out and come forward with it until I was almost 40. Okay. I was almost 40, guys. I was more than 40. I was like in my 40s when I finally like sorted it out, because you tend to stuff that shit. When you're sexually abused, you just stuff it. You put it to a place where it fucking doesn't even exist. Okay. And then you engage in a whole bunch of like acting out in ways that you try to take power over those types of situations. And then, you know, decades later, if you go get some therapy or whatever, eventually that shit comes out. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just the way it is, right? It's a type of dissociation that happens when you go through that shit, right? I mean, if fucking people could just come to terms with sexual abuse and come out with it right, it would be way easier to handle. But that's part of the reason why it's so hard to sort out, because it's really complicated, you know? And I mean, even with an adult being sexually abused, women will stuff that shit. Women will you know, make that shit go away and pretend like it never happened, or they believe it's their fault, and they somehow like create a narrative that they caused it. And then they carry around a bunch of shame and like, I wish I had done better, even though they were the ones who got assaulted. And it's like so complicated. Fontucky, let's go, baby. It is. Dude, we got 2 minutes. 2 minutes, and we need 2 more for the dance party, guys. 2:35. Are we going to get it? Oh, are we going to dance? Are we going to dance? Let's go, baby. To dance or not dance? I believe it. 2:25. The clock is ticking. But yeah, dude, this is really, it's pretty fucking heartbreaking. Okay? It is pretty heartbreaking. Right? Oh, shit. There's her actual face. Okay?
So he knew the first time that he saw me.
Dude, there's one with her not blacked out, right? So there's her, I mean, she's wearing a wig, okay? You can see she's wearing a wig, so she's trying to cover up our identity. But 155, baby, 155. Will we get it? Will we dance? Oh, there it is from Flores. All right, one more, baby. 145. One more, and we dance. Dude, it's really fucking tragic. Okay? The shit is so tragic. And there it is. Social Butterfly brings it in. Oh, at the wire. At the fucking wire. Let's go. Let's go. Hold on. Let me get this shit up here. Dude, I've fucking got my chat all fucked up. All right. We dance, baby. Dude, we dance. This one's for fucking Katie Johnson. All right. We're sorry you had to go through that shit. But we are going to watch more of this video. Again, it's really hard, guys, because I just want to say one thing here. What's hard about this is it's so hard to prove, okay? It is. It's hard to prove because it's not cut and dried, right? Sexual abuse happens. A lot of times the people are made to feel like it wasn't even abuse, right? Like afterwards, the guy will already be like, you wanted that, you brought that on, you came on to me. The women are like internalize the shame. They fucking carry it. They believe that you know, then for them to process it, sometimes they take on that they caused it. And like, but what's crazy about it is the frequency, okay, is the frequency of this is the fact that I'm 55 years old and I don't know if there's ever been a woman that I have dated that has not dealt with some type of sexual assault. Like, I looking back, I don't think there's one, guys, okay? And I've been with a lot of women, bro. It's just so rampant. It's like almost every woman gets sexually assaulted. Like literally, it's like 85%, man. You know what I'm saying? It's insane. Whether it happens as from like teenage boys or someone in their family or a cousin or a trusted adult or on a date, right? It is like unfucking real. We just live in a society that completely allows it, okay? It's the whole thing behind men protecting women. Why are men there to protect women? Because men are allowed to be predators. Men are allowed to be predators. They're accepted to be predators. They're revered for being predators. Oh man, he's a ladies' man. He's good with the ladies. He's a real stud, right? And then guys are like, you know, Trump says he just grabs him by the pussy, AKA that's fucking rape, right? And guys hear that and they're like, locker room talk. Oh, so locker room talk is just talking about raping women. That's acceptable locker room talk. Why? Because we live in a world where rape culture is just the norm. Okay? Prior to recent laws, men would just fucking rape women all the time. And there was nothing the women could do. And then what would happen is after a woman gets raped, her reputation would suffer. Isn't that crazy, right? Dudes rape the women and the woman's reputation takes the hit. And still to this day, it's like that. Like a woman gets raped and everyone's like, what were you wearing? Did you come on to him? Why'd you get so drunk? Why were you drinking at a party with a bunch of strangers? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I'm saying? And like, Lila, yeah, no, I feel lucky that I did get told. And I feel for you when you're in a situation where you just didn't feel comfortable telling. Right? I think with me, I think a lot of times people felt comfortable telling because I was such an open book, right? I'm a constant like open book, which is probably why they, like many of them told me. But it's hard though, because a lot of guys, they hear that shit and they think like badly, right? It's really common for men to, if they find out a woman gets raped, they look at the woman differently. And it's like, dude, it's so depressing. All right. You know what I'm saying? It is so depressing. But all right, I'm going to dance. I'm going to keep dancing, though, to the Deja Vu song because it's got a really good beat. I know somebody said, should I dance? Could I dance to the song from my thing? But Drown doesn't really have an interesting beat. I mean, it's a good tune, but it's not really a great dance song. I like that Deja Vu song. And we'll start another goal. So maybe we'll have 2 dances. All right, fuck it. We'll fucking every hour we'll try a goal. All right. See if we can dance once an hour. Dude, God knows I need the physical shape. All right. Dude. Oh shit. It's a very hard discussion right now. It is. This is a hard discussion. I feel though like I'm qualified to have this discussion because I was sexually abused. So I feel like I relate to it. I mean, it's, you know, it's hard with like situations like me too. Because when guys get sexually abused, a lot of times they don't want to come forward. You know what I'm saying? Because we have this whole like weird fucking religious gay hang up where like, dude, like the fucking, you know, one of the half brothers who sexually abused me is not gay. Okay. He's not gay at all. In fact, he's in jail in Wisconsin for sex crimes against adult women. Okay, because he committed a sexual assault later on when he got older. And now he's in, the Wisconsin has this 980 law where they can put somebody in jail until they're rehabilitated. So he'll be in jail forever because I don't think he's rehabilitatable. right? And so he's probably going to be in jail for the rest of his life. He got out and he sort of reoffended and broke parole, and so they put him back in. And he belongs in jail. He's a sociopath. Let me just tell you. You know what I mean? But right now, we dance. All right? Let's go, baby. Let's get it. Yeah, dude, I like that song too. Oh, shit, though. That is some breath work, man. Woo! Let's go. All right, somebody was asking about the band I was in. Give me a minute. I'll put a link in there. You're actually losing weight. Good. You were dancing. Let's go, Catherine. Dude, it's fucking good to dance, man. I feel like, let me just tell you, the thing about dancing, that why I think it is just really, really important and good for the soul. One is if you can develop a relationship with unselfconsciously moving your body to music, it is like really good for your self-confidence, okay? To just learn how to move unselfconsciously to music and let the music go through your body. It's also physical. It can be very joyous and freeing, right? And then the other thing about it is I feel like it's a high vibrational activity. You know what I'm saying? Where when you're dancing and you're free in the moment with music just sort of pulsating through you, I feel like you are like communicating on like a higher energetic level, you know? You know what I'm saying? You just are, right? It's like a high vibrational activity, you know? It's good shit, dude. I believe it's like key to fucking joy, right? It is, man. It reminds me of surfing, right? When you're surfing, you're like riding this moving wave of the ocean, and you're connected with Mother Nature. And with music, those sound waves are like living things, right? That music is emanating these sound waves. And when you're dancing with that, it's like you're riding those sound waves. It's fucking amazing. But anyway, all right, so here we go. So the band I was in was called the Wanteds. I mean, I've been in a number of bands, Soul Driver, Full Blown Red, Number 3 Breakdown, the Wanteds. But the Wanteds was the main one, which was a one-man indie rock band for a while. And then it became a three-piece later on. But 20 years ago, I used to tour the country and it is great cardiovascular exercise. Absolutely. But yeah, man, I feel like it's really good for your self-confidence because a lot of people, they can't dance unless they get liquored up because they're so like nervous about like how they're being perceived. And that's normal, dude. We all have that. I had that too. But when you can get beyond that, like for me, it was learning how to dance sober was like, oh shit, bro. Because I used to get fucked up. And when I get fucked up, I would dance. Elf, dude, you are fucking crazy, bro. Let's go, man. Dude, did you find out about the Chicago Symphony yet? Dude, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like, you know, I started doing it like fucked up. Right? When I went to college, I joined a fraternity and we would have dances. We would have parties where there was dancing and I would get out there. And every time I got out there, the girls would be like, oh my God, I love to watch you dance. So then I would be like, fuck it, I'll dance all the time. Right? Once I heard that, dude, I was like, dude, I will always dance. Right? Whatever the ladies liked, I was down with. Right? It was pretty wild. So I danced in college. That was like a big thing. I was the fucking dancer guy. I was like the one dude in the fraternity with really good rhythm. Right? And I mean, I wouldn't mind if I could do my life over again. I think I would inquire about maybe doing the ballet. Why did I join a fraternity? I mean, it was pretty simple, Jack. I was really a nerd. Okay? I was a nerd. Like all of my life. I didn't have a lot of friends. I moved around all the time. I was not popular. And then at the very end of my senior year, I kind of had my first brush with like a more popular group of people. And I got contact lenses. I got rid of my glasses. And so when I went to college, I wanted to be popular. Okay. I wanted like a group of friends, a set. I wanted to be a part of something where I was popular and like the guy, right? And so I joined a fraternity and that gave me that. But there was a price though, because you have to conform, right? I had to dress like them, the backwards baseball hats, side out sport, fucking t-shirts and volleyball shorts and shit. And so it was weird because what happened was in the beginning, I did it and I loved it. And for like 6 months, I was like so popular, the king of this fraternity. I lived in the house as a pledge. Everybody loved me. But then I started like kind of breaking down with it because I didn't like some things. I didn't like the way we kind of cruised the little sisters, right? I didn't like the way we talked about people when we were judging whether they were worthy of being in the fraternity. I didn't like how we picked and choose who we brought in and like sometimes use people. Like we would pick guys we didn't really like because they had such high GPAs, they would elevate the GPA of the house and shit. So the whole system was like kind of dirty. And eventually I soured on that and I fell out of favor with them. And then I fucking like everything fell apart. But I sort of credit it with making me an artist because it was really my attempt to sort of integrate into American society where I realized, God, I don't want to be a part of that. Because let me tell you guys, the Greek system, fraternities and sororities, sororities are very much like American society. They are like microcosms of the regular fucking society and like the business world and shit. And it's gross, man. I really fell out of favor, but it's how I became an artist. You know what I mean? I became an artist by like getting in there, looking at the system, and then being like, man, fuck this, bro. Because the way you treat women and the way you treat each other, like, is not healthy, man. It's not healthy, dude. It's real predatory, like on every front, you know, but it was an experience. It was an experience, but I don't know if I would have become the artist I became without seeing that side, you know what I mean? Without seeing the sort of like the gnarlier part about it. But I will say in the beginning, though, it was kind of cool. Like I went to UCLA, there's like 40,000 students. School's very big. So all of a sudden having a group of guys that like were your bros, where you felt protected and you felt safe and you felt like less alone. You know what I mean? How I became an artist. So I mean, it was where I realized how I diverged from like modern social structures, and the social structure of American society was through interacting with the fraternity, like melding into that social structure was how I became the artist that I am, which is to like speak out against those structures, to rebel against these useless social structures. But I tend to do it from the inside. I don't just rail at it from the outside. I tend to like get in there and sort of get my hands dirty, you know, and figuring out who I am and what I value and where I fit into this like modern world, and what I disagreed with about how we're programmed socially. All of that was really formulated by some of those early fraternity experiences. Because like, for example, I don't know if this will make sense to you, but when you're not popular, okay, like when I was not popular as a kid and I was sort of an outcast and I was a nerd, I had really high GPA, I was popular with the teachers, but not popular with my fellow students. So it's real easy to sort of develop an idea of what it means to be popular, or it's real easy to sort of decide, well, I don't want any of that because you feel like you can't have that. You know what I'm saying? And so it's real easy to sort of resent the social structures if you are outside them. Okay? It's a way of like coping, right? Part of my coping mechanism was to sort of resent that which I felt like I didn't have access to. Okay? So then when I went to college, I decided to reinvent myself, and I decided, you know what? I'm going to go get access to all of that shit that I resented in high school, but I'm going to go in there and I'm just going to live it. Okay? I'm going to put myself out there and really seek it and go after it and live it. And I did that. And then I kind of learned the price you pay for popularity, right? And how you get popular, which is often by denigrating other groups, right? That's one way of popularity works is where whomever you're popular with has a target group, and you commit to denigrating that target group. And that's how you achieve popularity, is by, right? And so what I did was I kind of became friends with all of the groups, right? I became friends with all of the groups, which required a real, I don't know, you had to really carefully punch, right? You know what I mean? You did. You had to become good at letting other people do the punching, and you become a tacit agreeer with that. It is much more political if you're going to be friends with every side of the of the fray, right? It's a little more complicated, but I don't know, man. It's just hard because the one thing about popularity is responsibility. Okay, when you're popular, you end up having a responsibility to the crowd. You know what I'm saying? You have a responsibility to the crowd. You know, you just do. Let's go, man. Thank you, Elf. You do. Let's go, baby. You crazy, boss. whatever the crowd is, you have a responsibility. You know, like if you become a popular indie rock star, you then have a responsibility to the indie rock scene. You can't really sell out. You gotta fucking stay like close to your indie roots. You gotta respect all the revered people in the scene, right? You know what I mean? It's like, it is just, you know, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with it. And it's, I don't know, it's weird. It's interesting, but I enjoyed it. And I also didn't enjoy it. But the fraternity system, though, for me, the biggest downside was kind of like the unwritten social codes for men. That's where I really rebelled, is I didn't like the messages about manhood that were sort of, you know, like firm part of the fraternity scene, you know what I mean? You grew up in a crime-infested neighborhood, lots of shootings. Yeah, no, Oceanus, I get it. Education is your sanctuary. And there were probably some people, Oceanus, who maybe weren't good at education, that maybe for them the sanctuary became like a gang or a group of like, you know, like a group of dudes who would back each other up and take a bat to somebody's head if anyone messed with the group, which is like a familial bond. Right, that sometimes you have to do in those types of neighborhoods too. If you weren't good at school, right, you might do the other shit, right? You might have to get involved in a gang or a group of like, family protectors. I mean, in the end, we all want family. You know what I'm saying? We all want family. You know what I'm saying? We do. Popularity is not always about degrading other groups. I mean, I can't really speak to that, Renee. I've found that with not even just popularity, but that all, like, you know what I'm saying? That all groups are like, you know, every scene does have groups that are, I don't know, shit on. I mean, you could look at it at politics, right? I mean, look at left-wing politics, right? Most left-wing people sort of stick together, right? But then there's people like Anna and Cenk that are considered to be the turncoats, and then everybody shits on them, right? But people aren't going to shit on the really popular and well-regarded people in the scene, right? I mean, you could, but that would just get you ostracized from the scene. Right? Everything's got a scene, I think. And the scene may not be completely, they might not be completely like geared towards shitting on people, but in every scene there are rules about who you can shit on and who you can't. Right? And like even in the fraternity, there were rules with the popular people there were certain guys in the fraternity that were just untouchable. Even if you didn't like them, you had to sort of revere them or you could not be popular, right? And then there were certain people that you couldn't like. And in order to be popular, even if you liked them, you had to do it in a way that nobody saw you do it, because the network of who was popular decided who was in and who was out. And in order to be popular, you had to sort of obey those rules, right? When you're popular, you only have a responsibility to what is right. Yeah, see, I disagree with that sentiment, Renee. I do, because I believe that every popularity network establishes what is right and wrong within the framework of that network. And then you sort of have to play by those rules a little bit. That's part of what popularity is it's like a little club. You can get into this club as long as you sort of play a little bit by these rules, and you can break them to a degree, but it sort of goes back to this shit we talk about the establishment versus the non-establishment. Because what is popularity? It's being part of the establishment. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I mean? It's part of the establishment. And I believe that in every network and order, there's an establishment and a and there are certain rules that go along with it. With flexibility, I just feel like in the fraternity, it was like a lot stricter, at that age than it is now. Like, but in every order, I don't know, in every order, there are some rules, right? My uncommon sense is your salve. It's true. I mean, we don't really talk about this a lot, but there are, like you look at like MAGA, and one of the rules there is like that unending, devotion to Donald Trump. And you can disagree with him to an extent. You can voice up things to an extent, but then you also have to keep it in line. And if you keep it in line, you're part of the network and you're part of the fucking money and you're part of the scene. But if you get too far out of line, they will jettison you and then you will no longer be allowed the benefits of the scene, right? And so I guess you don't have to be necessarily bad to be popular, but you do have to sort of obey the rules of the popularity set. And Anna and Cenk are disingenuous and don't have principles. That's true. That's true, Oceanus. That is true. But you're not wrong, right? But they're, I don't know. There's like, for example, let me just tell you, one of the easiest ways to become popular. You ready? It's real simple. When you say one of the easiest ways to be popular is just don't say anything bad about anyone, right? That's one of the easiest ways. Like if you go into a scene and you just talk greatly about everybody in that scene and just lord nothing but praise on everyone in that scene, that is the quickest way to become popular, okay? Is to, even if you don't like some of the people, and even if you have huge disagreements with the way they behave, you don't say it, okay? You just heap nothing but praise. Good night. You find the things about the people you like, and then you praise them only. Never a bad word. Never a bad word. That's one of the fucking easiest ways to get in. And dude, it works. It works, man. Never a bad word. Our kids are not going through what we're talking about right now. I don't know. Our kids are going through it differently. Okay? They're going through it differently. Like, because our kids they have access to a different kind of popularity, which is like online shit. You know what I mean? Like you could be wildly unpopular at your school and have no friends, but you could have a TikTok that has a reach. And you could have a whole other personality that you put online and you create popularity like online. It's different, right? It comes with a different set of like, like rules and observations. Like I was very popular in the gaming industry and there were some rules that went along with that you have to sort of denigrate women, which I refused to do, which sort of broke me in the end. The Andrew Tate animosity fucking caused quite a rift. And then the other thing, though, that was hard about gaming is you had to sort of fake, like, financial success. That's a big part of it. Like, you have to buy a really expensive car or whatever and take photographs with it. You have to sort of pretend like you're fucking, like you're kicking it. You know what I mean? But again, I don't think there's anything wrong inherently with connection, right? I think what's hard, though, is popularity is not always connection, okay? Like for example, you ready? So genuine connection, you can't control, okay? You can't control genuine connection. I mean, you meet people and you may connect with them, you may not. Over time, you can try to connect with people and it may or may not work out, but it requires you being open and vulnerable and seeking this genuine connection. But popularity is different because you can create it. You can mine it. there are strategies and techniques to become popular, to sort of like perform and steal the stage and create a buzz around yourself. And you can use techniques like I could go into a workplace, right? And find out who had all the power in that workplace, and I would make them all my friends. And then I was untouchable there. And then I would have an obscene amount of power in the workspace where now I could get away with shit because all the really important people love me, right? And they didn't love me by accident. They loved me because I knew how to get them to love me. I knew how to be popular with the people in charge, right? And so, right? And so that's like, I don't know, it's a type of maneuvering, you know what I mean, that you can have access to. But what's crazy about it, though, is like, even with me, right, I'm pretty good at popularity, but I'm not really good at genuine connection. You know what I'm saying? Because they're very different skill sets. Like, it's different because, like, my girlfriend Jenny, who just came in, right? Jenny's not really good at popularity, but Jenny is really good, like insanely good at like connection. Like when she gets it, she doing it right and doing it deep and like, wow, like she's so good at it. But I'm not good at connection, but man, I am a fucking networker. Like, dude, I am like, you know what I'm saying? I'm really fucking good at that shit. You know what I mean? I'm good at it. I'm really good at fucking schmoozing, right? You know what I'm saying? You don't have to praise people to be popular. All right, Renee, you show me that. I want you to show me a situation where you go out and you be critical of everybody around you and you become real popular doing that. Show us. Tell me how that works. You go into a crowd and you be real critical of everybody in that room and then tell me how popular you are at the end of that. And let me give you a hint. You're not going to be very popular. Right? And I mean, that doesn't mean you have to be fake. But one of the keys is you have to look at everybody and find something that you agree with them on. And then you have to center a relationship around that fucking mutual, that like admiration. Right? I mean, if you go into a room full of people and you say negative things about them, you're not going to be popular among that group of people. Right? You do. You know what I'm saying? Dude, that's funny. Yeah, no, you don't have no praise involved. I mean, it's just, again, it doesn't always have to be a deceptive thing, but it can be. It absolutely can be, right? You know what I mean? I mean, there are some people who can be extraordinarily negative and they're really popular, but usually in that instance, it's a starfucker situation where that person is either really wealthy or they have like deep connections, right? Like maybe they have really powerful parents or they're right. Sometimes you can be a total douche and be popular because you have something that everybody wants. And like, that's kind of Donald Trump, right? He was kind of a dick to everybody, but he was firmly ensconced and wealthy and connected with all these fucking, like, you know, powerful people, right? He was connected to the modeling agencies and all that shit. And so he got to be popular because he had a currency that everybody wanted. But popularity, make no mistake about it, guys. It's about having a currency that people desire, right? That's what makes popularity. It's a currency. That's really what it is. Popularity, it's a currency. It is, which is why anybody can really have it. You just have to figure out what your currency is. You know what I'm saying? Like, and again, it's not always negative, but it can be really negative. And even with well-intentioned people, you can turn out negative with it because once you have it, there's like power dynamics that happen, you know what I mean? I mean, it's just, I encourage people to do experiments with that, right? Like if you go to a workplace, right? It is a commodity. It's like a currency but it's always different. You know what I mean? It's always different. It could be, sometimes the currency is a type of integrity or fashion, or sometimes the currency is follower count or notoriety, right? Sometimes the currency can be, religious beliefs, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, it can be all sorts of things, but it's definitely a currency. It is. And yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting, right? It's really interesting. I find it really fascinating, right? Because guys, like, even being a political streamer that's starting now, okay? Here's why I find it fascinating, okay? Because you will roll up, and as you become a political streamer, you're going to start branching out and becoming friends with other streamers. You know what I mean? And then it's like, there are people that are like the in people and people that are like the out people, right? Elf, let's go. Thank you, boss. You know what I mean? And so you're always navigating things. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, on my journey, one of the people that I really like, okay, is I like Brian Tyler Cohen, okay? And right off the bat, I liked him for a number of reasons, because I liked his sort of progressive values, but not shitting on the Democratic Party. I like how he makes videos that actually really tell a very specific outlined point of view that is like passionately told, right? And he's a really good YouTuber. He grew a channel that is like massive and wildly successful, and he does it really, really well. And so right off the bat, early on, I fucking met Brian Tyler Cohen, okay? And he actually commented on one of my videos when I made a commentary about him and Cenk Uygur. And then BTC, I reached out to him. And then he and I joined a Discord call, and we've been friends ever since, right? And he's kind of mentored me in a way and been really helpful to me. But what's interesting about it is some of the other far left people that I also like, their crowd doesn't like Brian Tyler Cohen because he's too like mainstream, right? But with me, I really love Brian Tyler Cohen and I love Hassan, okay? I mean, isn't that weird? And I love Kyle Kalinske. And like, I can stomach David Pakman, but I don't love David Pakman, right? But I like, don't hate David Pakman. You know what I mean? But like, ultimately, I may get to know all those guys. And who knows? I'm the type of guy who could maybe bring all of those guys together and have a good time together and a sharing of ideas, right? You know what I mean? But there are some people though that like don't like mainstream guys, or maybe they don't like the far left guys. You know what I'm saying? But it's really, I don't know, it's really weird because for me, I can really connect with all of them. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And like, see, even in chat, you'll see some people who love these and some people who don't love others. Right. But again, though, I'm like, I like popularity. I like being connected to like all the facets. You know what I'm saying? I do. I like them all. Dude, it's amazing. Right? It's interesting. Dude, I love Brian, though, dude. Brian, I got to say this, though, dude. I'm going to go on the record right now and say that, like, right now, I've had a wildly successful year. Okay, 1 year ago today, guys, I had like 1,000 subscribers. Okay, 1,000, 1,200. And right now I have, what do we have? Let's put the sub banner up here. Hold on, let me find it. Here we go. You ready? What do we got right now? We got almost 44,000. Okay, let me just tell you this. I would not have 44,000 subscribers right now if it was not for Brian Tyler Cohen, okay? For literally, it is my like friendship with Brian Tyler Cohen that fucking is the reason why I have 44,000. If he didn't get in that call with me, Like, I can't even tell you how much knowledge and wisdom I got from like a 2-hour call with that dude and, you know, emailing him every couple of days. You know what I'm saying? Like when I have questions, like unfucking believable, man. The knowledge, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like it life-changing. And another person, Tabitha, right? I've never spoken to Tabitha, but her alone of like liking my content and sharing it, huge, right? And I like her content. You know what I'm saying? But like, you know, what would it be like if Tabitha shared a whole bunch, like shared me with her people? And what if I didn't like her though? You see, that's where it gets complicated, is when somebody likes you, but you don't like them. But I love Tabitha and I love Brian. But like, dude, without those two, I don't even know where I'd be, man. You know what I'm saying? Dude, Brian has like, well, you know what's crazy about Brian is from right off the bat, he just said to me, I can't wait to watch your channel grow. And now like he's always been really helpful at giving me like information to help me grow, right? And it's always challenging shit. Like he says shit to me that like sometimes I don't want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I don't want to hear it, but I know he's right. You know, like the recent challenge he fucking said to me, which is, you know, about my thumbnails. And, you know, I love my thumbnails. They're so artistic and I got so good at doing them. But he made a valid point about like, you know, my thumbnails, which is funny because the one thing about my thumbnails is they would take me so long. Like sometimes I would spend as much time on the thumbnail as I would on the video, which you just can't if you're trying to make 3, 4, 5 videos a day, right? Dude, but yeah, you got to be open to it, right? Brian sold out. Dude, Brian didn't sell out. I think Brian had his eye on a certain type of success. And he is fucking a genuine dude, right? He is. I mean, dude, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be successful, guys. You know what I'm saying? There is nothing wrong with wanting to be successful, wanting to be big. You know, I mean, I've always wanted to be big, guys. You know what I mean? Right? You value authenticity more? Yeah. Well, authenticity, though, is like, it's hard to gauge authenticity, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, to be honest. Wait, where's my... Oh, there it is. All right. Taking that off. So the thing about authenticity, guys, is like, and don't get me wrong, because I value authenticity as well. But authenticity is more complicated. You know why, guys? Let me just tell you, every one of us, okay, that does entertainment commentary, we're all actors, okay? We are all actors. Okay, so the thing about it is, the thing about like the thing about actors is authenticity gets complicated for us because you eventually become a character. Okay, you do. You like what happens in entertainment. Okay, is what happens in entertainment is you go out and you put your content out there, and then like where you go is not really up to you. Okay, you know what I mean? Like, for example, and this is for all of us. This isn't BTC. This isn't like, this is fucking Hassan. This is all of the political commentators on YouTube. You don't get to necessarily control where you go, because what happens is you go and put content out and then you'll blow up for shit. And then you start making more of what you blow up with. Right. And so then you develop an authenticity as you interact with the algorithm. You know what I'm saying? And so then what it becomes, though, is it becomes like how much you clickbait, how honest you are, how you use clickbait, how you take artistic license, right? You know what I mean? And so everybody has their own thing, but eventually you do have an audience, and then you deliver the content for your audience. You know what I mean? Now it just depends on how big you want your audience to be. Okay. If you, for example, guys, in early on, the first video that got me monetized was me agreeing with 𝗙ście𝗶𝗏. Okay. I agreed with 𝗙ście𝗶𝗏 because I love Hassan, and some things about Hassan I agree with. But very early on, I made a decision to make content right after that Hassan video where I disagreed with Hassan. So a large portion of Hassan's base audience would not like me. Why? Because I didn't want to have that 𝗙ście𝗶𝗏 audience, which are really radical and they have a very strict set of rules. But I support the mainstream Democratic Party. So I could have leaned into the 𝗙ście𝗶𝗏 audience of my far leftists, but I would have had to suppress my mainstream stuff as well, because Hassan can never be mainstream. He can't. He is now firmly in a pocket where if he ever does anything mainstream, they will accuse him of selling out, and it will create this whole fracas. Okay. And so I very early on made conscious efforts to make some videos that would thin out the extremist 𝗙ście𝗶𝗏 fans that were starting to follow me, because I am very leftist like Hassan, but I didn't want his audience. Okay. And that was a conscious move, right? I love 𝗙ście𝗶𝗏, but I don't want his audience. All right. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? And dude, Hassan does keep it real, but his audience is not, they have too many rules. They have too many, it's too strict. You have to follow a very strict regimen of leftism to in that world. And I'm not that strict, right? I have some centrist aspects to me. I have some far left. I have some communists, but I tend to follow much more collective of bringing everybody together. You know what I'm saying? Than to, burn the whole thing down. I only want to burn parts of the system down. You're not a fan of Hassan? Oh, dude, I'm a big fan of Hassan. I am, dude. I'm a huge fan of him. I am, dude. I'm a huge fanboy. His audience, though, is super, super fucking strict. You know what I mean? Do I like 𝗏𝗏? Not really. It's not that I don't dislike 𝗏𝗏, because I don't, because a lot of times I hear 𝗏𝗏 and he makes a lot of sense. I don't connect with 𝗏𝗏, right? And I don't know if it's because he's more of the gay dude, or I don't know what it is about 𝗏𝗏, but there's something about 𝗏𝗏 where I just don't feel the connection, right? Hassan, I feel a connection with, right? I do. I feel a connection. And with 𝗏𝗏, I don't feel that same connection. I feel a lot of times 𝗏𝗏 is more of a rage baiter, right? 𝗏𝗏 is gay. Yeah, I think he's pretty gay or bisexual, right? 𝗏𝗏, he's pretty gay. He is, dude, right? He is. He has a girlfriend, then he's bisexual, but he's pretty bisexual, right? You know what I mean? He is. Now, somebody mentioned Destiny, right? So the thing about Destiny, you ready? So the thing about Destiny is this, is Destiny, I like some of Destiny's methodology and the way he debates. I always thought Destiny was a really good debater, but I didn't like Destiny because Destiny was like a right winger. You know what I mean? He was always hanging out with all the worst right wingers because he's kind of like the lefty who likes to hang out in that right wing womanizing crowd. And I don't like that. You know what I mean? I don't like that crowd at all. But he's a good debater. But the thing about 𝗏𝗏, I guess, with 𝗏𝗏 is somebody said edgelordy, and that kind of makes sense to me. I feel like 𝗏𝗏 is more of the loner bro type, and I'm, I don't know. I don't know what it was. I just don't connect with him as much. But he's fucking, you got a very loyal audience. Like, I'll give him that, dude. He's good at cultivating his audience. But my favorite people, like, in the scene, okay, my favorite people in the scene are, I love Brian Tyler Cohen. I love fucking Kyle Kulinski. Him and Crystal, I think, are fucking great. Okay, I really like the Vanguard guys. The Vanguard guys are really good. I like Sam Cedar for sure. Dude, he's like, I don't know, dude. He's just sort of like, there's like a I don't know, there's like a humanity about him that I really like, right? I like Ole, okay? Ole I really like. Dude, I like Emma, but I think a lot of times I feel like I'm not left enough for Emma, right? You know what I mean? Like, I like Emma a lot, but I feel like Emma is in the part of leftism that comes with a lot of those rules that sometimes I feel like maybe I feel like I don't quite fit in. I'm not as stringent enough of a leftist to be in the Emma crowd, right? Man, that could just be my own thing, right? We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But she's very, very, like, you know, stringent leftist, you know? But I'd like to see us all get together, you know? You know what I mean? Dude, to the Vanguard boys, let's go. Dude, yeah, I want to collaborate with the Vanguard. Emma is sweetheart, tough as hell. She is. She's very smart. Like, dude, Emma is like really top of the line explaining shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like she's one of the better speakers in political discourse. Really. Dude, what about 𝗏𝗏touch? So, dude, by far, Ben is my favorite 𝗏𝗏 toucher. Okay? Ben's my favorite. For sure. And I like 𝗏𝗏s. I love what they do. I just, like, 𝗏𝗏touch is hard because they're a little more mainstream. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think I would ever become a 𝗏𝗏touch. Like, I could never be a 𝗏𝗏touch correspondent because I'm a little too controversial. But I do love Ben a lot, dude. Ben's really good. And Park Rose Permaculture, she's practically my neighbor. Okay, I just recently discovered her, but she lives in a part of town where my son used to have football practice. So she's super cool. You know, she is. She's really good. She's practically my fucking neighbor, guys. Literally. Her name's Angela. But yeah, it's a small world. Like, my son used to be on a football team that they actually, he was on the Portland Generals, and they beat Park Rose for the city championship when my kid was in like first grade or second grade. I do like Adam Mockler. You know who I really like, that the two guys that are a little off under the radar are Jack Cochiarella and Keith Edwards, right? The two pretty boys. Let's go, dude. Oh shit. Right? Those two guys. They're pretty boys. Oh, let's go, dude. No, I love everybody, man. Dude, nah, clickbait. What's clickbait? Dude, everybody clickbaits, guys. Everybody clickbaits to a degree, right? I'll be honest, guys. When I look at the clickbaiters of, like, believe it or not, you know who I think is like one of the worst offenders of the clickbaiters is Pac-Man, dude. Right? Dude, Pac-Man is one of the craziest clickbaiters, bro. Like, every month he has a video that, like, I'm gonna have to leave America. Please watch this whole video. Dude, he does. He's always clickbaiting, like, Trump is trying to fucking put me in prison or some shit. Go sign up for my Substack or you'll never see me again. They've got the vans right outside my house. Dude. And I mean, he's like the most, like, even-keeled guy, right? He is. He's like so, like, I'm so calm and I'm so erudite, and yet, like, the van's right outside and the masked men are at my door. Please sign up for my Substack. Dude, it's so funny, bro. Dude, it's so funny. And I'm like, dude, you are like a serious clickbaiter, bro. I can't wait to one day be in the room with him and actually talk to him about that. Oh, shit. That's funny. Oh. But guys, a little bit of clickbait is like, you have to do it. You know what I mean? You have to do it, right? And you know, it's like, it's part of the job. And then you just want to try to do it in the most ethical way possible, right? You know what I'm saying? But dude, there's a lot of good political commentators. I feel like I'm a little different though. I'm a little different. I am just sort of a little gruffier, right? I'm gruff and I use crazier language, and I definitely use more like sexual references than a lot of them, right? The double tug. I endorse occasional spats of violence, right? Oh, shit, dude. Oh, clickbait is a show? Oh, that's funny. All right. Oh, fuck, dude, it's 1:25, bro. All right, dude, we got it. Kyle has me beat. Dude, I feel like me and Kyle are sort of like in the same neighborhood of the sexual references. Yellow and red thumbnails make you hungry? Yeah, well, you know what's funny is the yellow and red thumbnails are actually gonna, like, I'm gonna be moving away from them for a while, right? And I'm gonna leave the yellow and red thumbnails for the live shows, but I am going to venture into more moderate, more mainstream thumbnails to try and expand my audience, okay? I am. I love my fucking, the thumbnails I made are like works of art. And I've gotten really good at making them, but now I'm moving on to more mainstream thumbnail looks to try and grab some new audiences, right? You know, trying to expand. Because guys, I'll tell you right now, like I want to be like Brian Tyler Cohen sized. I do. I would love to have, you know, a couple million subs and a team and be able to like just stream and have like content all day long on like all of the pressing issues. Dude, I would love to do that. And I know I can. You know what I'm saying? I know I can. And what's more though, right? What's more is I feel like I want to bring people together. Because I don't know if you've noticed this, guys. Okay? Is I don't know. Yeah, dude, Hunter is good. Hunter is like more TikTok. Okay? I see Hunter on TikTok. But so what I want to do, guys, is I want to be a bridge, okay? And this harkens back to when I was in the fraternity, okay? When I was in the fraternity, guys, there was a thing where I was good at bringing the opposing factions together. And what we need more than anything, guys, is we need to have a left, like we need the left to be able to coalesce. And I think as I get into the scene and get bigger, I think I might be uniquely good at bringing a lot of disparate personalities together and being the conduit that allows them all to fucking, like, I don't know, commingle, right? Like I'm really good at being the glue. You know what I'm saying? I'm really good at being the glue. I'm like good at that. I'm good at like having like I can connect with so many different people. I'd like to try and bring people together, some of these disparate factions, and see if we can't get together around shit, you know? And I mean, that's a lofty goal, and it's not like gonna happen like this year, but that is kind of my long-term goal, is to be more of a unifier. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Is to be a little bit of a unifier, because we have a lot of different factions on the left, guys. And it's hard. It's hard coming together when you have different factions. It is. It's hard because you know, it's like, there's a different type of vulnerability that, you know, in reaching out to everyone. You know what I'm saying? There's like, you know, especially when you feel like people are like morally disagreeing with you, you know, and there's a lot of hot button issues in politics. You guys may have noticed, right? But I would like to be a unifier. That is a long-term goal, is to sort of see if I can bring people together. Although you'd never guess, because like I talk a lot of shit. You just said you didn't want Hassan's audience. Yeah, but so the thing about it is, though, is you don't have to have somebody's audience to bring people together. You know what I'm saying? You don't, right? It's not about that. Because I don't want Hassan's audience. I don't want to have to live under those rules. But Hassan's audience is an important part of the umbrella. And so if I can make Hassan's audience be able to coexist better with Brian Tyler Cohen's audience, then that's a good thing, right? And I don't want Hassan's audience, and I don't want Brian's audience, but I want to be able to like pull Brian's audience and Hassan's audience together, and in a way that they feel seen and heard from each other, right? And it's not about having their audience. It's almost about being a translator, I think, between, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, for example, you know, in the role I play in this house, okay, I live in a complicated house, guys. Okay, I have a son, right, who's 20 years old that I have like lived for that kid. Okay, when he was growing up, he was like my best friend. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And I was his dad, and I was fucking like very committed to him. And I really, really value the relationship I have with him. And I have a girlfriend, but like she's a stepmom, right? So there's a hugely complicated relationship of like my girlfriend and my relationship with her, which can make my son feel left out, and my relationship with my son, which can very easily make my girlfriend feel left out. And so in order to navigate that, I have consistently had to pull all of us together and get raw, you know what I'm saying? And get open and have the same discussion 100 fucking times until it like almost everybody doesn't want to have the discussion anymore. But why? Because I don't want to constantly live in two different worlds. So sort of bringing those worlds together. And one of the things that's amazing about it is because I'm not afraid of confrontation, I can be good at that. I'm good at that role. But it's hard, dude. Anybody who's lived in a step family, you know that, man, it's hard. And my family growing up was like that. I had a dad, I was his kid. I had a mom, she had 6 other kids. And those 6 kids, she treated differently than she did me, right? And then fucking, you know, my dad treated me differently than them. So there were all kinds of power dynamics. You know what I'm saying? You know, but see justice for this shit that's fucked up. Yeah. Clickbaity political thirst trap. All right, dude, that's me. Brandy, you just called me out. That's what I am. I'm a clickbaity political thirst trap. Dude, I like that. I think I want to call myself that. Dude, political punk. Clickbaity political thirst trap. I love that fucking phrase. Dude, isn't that a good phrase? That shit is golden. Does it ever not work out like that? Does what not work out like that? But is there a t-shirt that says that? We all have the same goal? Yeah. Well, so guys, it's hard though, because like audience capture becomes a real thing. And it's not even audience capture necessarily. It's like an algorithmic thing. Like I've been doing algorithms from the days of like MySpace. And like algorithms are just really sort of risky, because like what happens with an algorithm is you make content, and then the algorithm like grows you, but then you're beholden to who they grow you to, right? Because you start developing an audience, right? Oh, let's go, Orion. Let's go. You like the 9-iron? Dude, I love the 9-iron. It's necessary. And golf. Oh, to answer your question, golf. So what I was going to say about the step kids is I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there always is a different treatment for step kids, but you know what it is with the step family is it's different power. Okay. like my mom's kids had more power in our relationship with our mother than I did. And I had more power in the relationship with my father than they did. And because my father was an authoritarian, I had more power because I was my dad's kid than my mom did. So it was like weird how that worked, right? And so there is different treatment, but I think the treatment isn't so much the complicated thing. The complicated thing is the power dynamics, right? And that's the same thing with government, right? It's power. Who has power and how that power is doled out is really interesting to me. That's one of the things that I find interesting, right? You know, it's wild. This is a turning point in history, Ginger. You are not wrong, right? You are not wrong. We are at a turning point. We are like, I'm really intrigued, guys. I'm really intrigued about like the fork in the road that we're at, right? You know what I'm saying? I don't know how like we're at an interesting fork in the road, guys, because there's like, I don't know, Christian authoritarianism. There's like a weird humanity. Like I feel like we could be on the road to an actual national separation. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I almost think that might be a good thing to split America into two different countries. And you know what I mean? Because like, you know, I know we talk about the Civil War, but I think that's part of the problem is we had a civil war where one part of the country forced the other part of the country to come along for the ride. But I think that's the problem. I think we should stop trying to force other people to live differently. And we should maybe accept that there's two different ethos here. One part of America is more like Mexico and Canada, and another part of America is more like Saudi Arabia. And we should let the part of America that wants to be like Saudi Arabia be like Saudi Arabia. And they could have their kings and they could have their oppressive rules and their biblical texts in schools and their fucking morality laws and all that shit. But like, then we wouldn't have to deal with those fuckers. And you know, but it's hard though, because it's like the resources. They want that, but they want our resources. You know what I mean? That's really what it comes down to, is they want, you know, they don't want to have to live on their own resources. They don't, man. Dude. You know? But anyway, let's go back to this Katie Johnson. We got a little sidetracked. All right? I want to go back and watch a little more of this video. What's so civil about war anyway? Yeah, I don't think we need a war, actually. You know what I'm saying? I don't, right? I mean, you know, but it is a question of resources. Like some people might want war because they don't want to give up the resources, you know?
The reason I'm coming out now is when it happened originally, he took a liking to me because I look like his daughter. And the reason I'm coming out now is when it happened originally, I just wanted to forget about the whole incident. And when I saw that he was running for president, I felt that it was my responsibility to come out and tell our country what kind of man this person is. I don't think that he should even be the dog catcher, let alone running the greatest country in the world. After I met Tiffany at the bus station, she took me to, basically went to her house, her apartment, and got ready. I put on a blonde wig because it seemed fun to pretend to be someone different, but we went to the party that I was basically interviewing for, and Jeffrey Epstein was the one that was running the party. He had a quick meeting with everyone that was employed there, And then he had a private interview with me. The first time that I met Jeffrey Epstein, he did try to force himself inside of me without getting the go-ahead or anything. And then it was probably about the third or fourth party is when he basically forced, it was another massage, and it was basically like, it wasn't sex, but there was penetration, and I told him that I didn't want that, but he kind of got a little irritated. So I don't know, there was something about him that I guess I kind of held him, I held a lot of resentment towards him. By that time that happened, I kind of already started catching on that maybe I wasn't there for modeling, and maybe I was just getting used for things, and I felt that kind of held him responsible. I did receive money to go to these parties. After every party, I was paid by Mr. Epstein. There wasn't, out of all the girls that were there with me, most of them were 13, 14. I think the oldest one might have been 16, just turned 16. And she'd been there for a while. It was Tiffany. He liked to watch other people have sex. He's a germ, doesn't like germs, so he, rather than partaking, he just watches. So Tiffany had informed him that I was the virgin, and so I was basically, so it was Tiffany who introduced us.
Okay.
Second time that I saw Mr. Trump was same scenario. He was onlooking at an orgy, and Tiffany came over to me and said that Donald Trump had requested that I perform oral sex on him, and I'd never done something like that with anybody, so I was a little nervous. So I walked up to him, and he was sitting there very proud, and I just kind of moved in that direction, and he kind of slapped me away and said, "What are you doing? You know, you need to put a condom on," like I was some dirty filth or something without a condom. Tiffany ran over and handed him a condom and apologized, profusely, and said that would never happen again. And she looked at me and scolded me basically like a child, and said that, that's not how, Donald Trump always, anytime you touch his penis, it needs to have a condom on or a glove, and especially when it comes to performing oral sex. So I apologized, and then
dude, what a weird germaphobe, right? I mean, he is a notorious germaphobe, but that's just strange to me.
Performed oral sex on him. And once again, once he was done, he hopped up, but that's the last I saw of him at that party. It's like, once he's done, he's out. So.
Okay.
Sometimes before some of the things that I noticed that were weird with him was sometimes before the parties he would come over, and Jeffrey Epstein and himself would kind of banter back and forth, and he was Donald Trump was very racist. He said a lot of racist things. Like there was a lot of comments towards Mr. Epstein about being Jewish, and called him a Jew bastard, so that he was cheap. And there was some words I didn't even understand. Something about the shape of his penis. Being directly related to his mole, or I'm not too familiar with the Jewish tradition, so, but I'm pretty sure that whatever he was saying wasn't very nice. Also referred to people of Hispanic or Hispanic name, they called them 𝗙𝗍𝗍. That was around the first time that the World Trade Center had gotten the bombed in the 90s, and he was talking about the towel heads and how we would just be better off if we didn't let him in, or basically got rid of every single one that was already here. And I felt it made me really uncomfortable, really, really uncomfortable. He also loved to call black people niggers, and Arabic people he called sand niggers.
Jesus, dude, language.
The only time
Dude, language. Holy cow.
That he tried to give me some money was our last.
Dude, can we bleep this shit? Like, who made this video? Like, you can bleep that stuff. Katie's legal fund, like
Counter Together, where he acted out a rape fantasy.
Jesus.
It just.
Dude, I grew up in small town Wisconsin, so like those terms were often fucking heard. You know what I'm saying? Those terms were just always like present. Like, small towns are so bad with racism. Like, it's just so bad, and that's one of the things to me that has made me like really, 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 really bothered, okay, about the way that we've been kind of returning to this old language. You know what I'm saying? And you see it on Twitter. You see it where people are like wanting to go back to slurs. They're wanting to go back to that type of language. And it's really, really disheartening. It's really, really disheartening because that type of language just continues a cycle of dehumanization. You know what I'm saying? It continues the cycle. And we don't need to use those words. You know what I'm saying? There's no academic like situation where we have to use that language. There's nothing to be gained from using that stuff. I mean, I understand a scenario where like the black culture has taken some of that language and they've taken it as their own to take the power away. But like outside of that, like, sure, let the people who were abused by this language use that language for sure. It can be theirs. But for the rest of us to go and like engage in it, there's no fucking need. This idea that, well, why can they say it? Like, because they can say it because your people abused it. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I did. I really thought we turned a corner. I thought we had turned a huge corner. I thought we had outgrown a lot of that.
I was forced to give that money back because Jeffrey Epstein paid us after the party. So, but he just gave me the money. I don't even know why he gave it to me. Maybe to make me feel more cheap, but it was a pretty it was a rape fantasy to him, but I wasn't playing. So there was those 2 times, and then there was after the next thing that Tiffany approached me with was that he had a fantasy where he walked in on his maids basically making out, and that it was some type of fantasy for him. So she asked, at that point I was like, I don't want to be involved with anything that has to do with him. But she's like, you were just basically the other one. So there's nothing that you will have to do. Just don't, he's requesting you to be involved. So I reluctantly, I felt like I didn't have a choice there, but it was basically he's walking in, his 2 maids. I was one of the maids. I was the white maid. And there was a Spanish girl, Maria, who was the Hispanic maid. And we were making out, and he walks in and he gets really angry and threatens to call immigration on Maria if she doesn't come over and make things right and give him a blowjob. So while she is over there giving him a blowjob, I am just trying to, I'm supposed to look scared, like, oh no, and cleaning up things and pretending like I'm trying to go back to my job as a maid. And then he's being so rude to Maria. I felt so bad for her, even though I guess it just didn't seem like a fantasy. It didn't seem like it's the weirdest fantasy as far as that. You know, he was threatening to call immigration on her, you know, so that she didn't know how to, you know,
Dude, threatening to call immigration, that just feels like the biggest Trump move, doesn't it? Doesn't that feel like just the biggest Trump move ever? He had undocumented workers all over his properties. And absolutely, like, I can totally see Trump and Epstein threatening immigration, right? You know what I mean? Threatening, do what we want, or we're going to fucking deport you.
Wasn't even near going down to give him, perform oral sex on him before he slapped her away and said, you know, what are you doing? You know, you need to put a condom on, and she's trying to, you know, I'm so sorry. And he's like, you can't even understand what you're saying, you know, it just, you know, speak English, you know. He called her derogatory comments. And then he's like, you know what? You don't know what you're doing. Have her come over and show you how it's done. And so I said that I didn't, you know, I had to go over there or else he was going to call immigration on Maria. I didn't know if it was true or not, but I felt that, you know, he said that if I didn't show her how to perform oral sex on him, then he was going to call immigration on her and then get rid of us both. You know, it was anything that was in relation to him getting off or being satisfied or happy had to do with him being in power.
Yeah.
But extreme power, and it's very.
Dude, that's what it always is. It's always using power to force somebody to engage in whatever behavior you want them to. And I mean, we're seeing it with Colbert, right? Stephen Colbert. I mean, you see it, okay? Trump does this thing with CBS. They relent. They have a merger. The FCC, Brendan Carr is still being like, well, we don't know about this merger. They meet with somebody, CBS. Next thing you know, Colbert's show gets canceled. Donald Trump hates Stephen Colbert. Hates him. Colbert has the most successful late night show of all of them. And it's getting canceled, though. Why? Because power. Okay? Because you want this merger. All right, get rid of my guy, right? You know what I mean? And like, get rid of the guy I don't like. Dude, it is so, it's all this shit with the fucking sex crimes and shit too is the same shit. It's all power. It's not even about sex.
It's very hard to even, it was always intimidating when he was like that. It was always, you didn't really know if it was true or, like if you refused to play along, would he really call immigration on Maria? Would he really get rid of us both? And I didn't even want to know what that meant. You know, I always didn't, it wasn't a game. It just felt like it wasn't a game. Yeah. The one night that I had the blonde wig on, he mentioned that I looked like, you know, that I reminded him of his daughter. And actually the maid fantasy, I didn't have a blonde wig on. I was trying to stay away from blonde wigs at the time. But he actually told Tiffany that that's what he wanted me to wear. Like he wanted it, and anytime I put it on, anytime I had it on and he'd see me, he would say, oh man, you look, and it wasn't like oh, you remind me of my daughter. It was this sick, evil, like, you remind me of my daughter. It was just this weird pleasure, sick smile. Like I don't even want to know what he was thinking about.
Dude, the daughter fixation with Trump is very strange. He definitely has a sexual fixation on his own daughter. That's pretty creepy.
I can imagine what he was thinking about.
It's pretty creepy.
After the parties would end, we were to report to Mr. Epstein and basically tell him everything that happened, with who, what they liked, what they disliked, if there was any requests, if there was any talk about anything. That's what, we told Mr. Epstein everything. And then he paid us, and then we got to go home. And with me, I would either, I normally got taken to the airport, so to go back home. The fact that Trump has a chance to be the next president makes me feel disgusting inside. I've always been proud to be an American. I think we live in a beautiful country. but I just see him ruining everything.
I mean, it is 2016. I felt like things were pretty beautiful back then, too. I don't know. I got lulled during the Obama years. Gay marriage advancing. We had health insurance for the first time in fucking decades. I was like, I definitely got lulled into thinking like things were better than they were.
Everything. He's a horrible, what he portrays on the outside isn't even that great, but people don't even know the half of how evil, how sick and twisted that man is. I have a friend that's been my friend ever since the school year that I stopped going, you know, the 8th grade. I confided her, and she knows all about it. She knows everything. I mean, I destroyed everything of, like, you know, any planes. I couldn't risk my dad finding out. And now I think I'm old enough to where I don't think, you know, at that point I didn't want to not be his little girl, you know. I didn't want to lose my dad.
All right, I have to pause it right there because there's one other thing I got to throw in here that we got to watch because I am on a time schedule and I have to go edit videos in a few minutes here. But I do want to talk about this Joe Rogan fucking scenario. I don't know if you guys saw this, but there's this Joe Rogan bit here where he did a podcast. Not his podcast. Joe Rogan went on a podcast and he talked a little bit about why he supported Donald Trump. Okay? Because remember, Joe Rogan, apparently he was a Bernie guy. Okay? I mean, I've never been into Joe Rogan. I've never really listened to his shit. I've never really liked the guy, mostly because he would always have people on with no pushback, no, right? He would just give people an open platform to say things without, you know, his curiosity was like in hearing information that would titillate or activate his audience, but he never felt the responsibility to verify or require some sense of honesty in the information he was using to activate his audience. And I have a real problem with that, okay? Because the reality is like, I am fine with getting an audience activated. I am fine with activating people, okay? I have no problem with tapping into people's emotional triggers and getting them activated. But I do have a problem when you do that with lies or with things that are not true simply to try and extract money out of them or allegiance out of them or to create some type of chaos, okay? And I believe that there is a lot of, you know, a lot of these people when they start getting really big audiences and they start getting a lot of money, they start enjoying their ability to create chaos, right? To stir chaos. They can just sort of like throw some chum in the water and watch everybody fucking bubble up like piranha to get it. And I don't like that type of thing. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, no sulfur, when he does push back, sometimes he doesn't even push back accurately, right? He is just somebody who I believe likes. He reminds me of Elon Musk, guys, where he likes to sow chaos. Okay? I think sometimes people like that. Okay? They like to sow chaos. You know what I mean? And so that I think is important to notice. But anyway, here he's having a moment where he's going to talk about, you know, why he supported Trump. Okay, here we go.
There was a bunch of things that happened. First of all, there was the lawfare. There was these lawsuits that they were trying to pin on him. They were trying to convict him and turn him into a felon, and they were doing it so blatantly and obviously. The case with the bookkeeping error or the bookkeeping, whatever it was, the misdemeanor that they had charged him with 34 felonies for, which isn't even a felony. It's a misdemeanor.
Did you see though what he said there? Did you see what he said there? The bookkeeping error. Did you see the way Rogan framed that? The bookkeeping error. But let's look at this, okay? Making a mistake in your bookkeeping, okay? If there is a bookkeeping error, that probably is a misdemeanor. But what was Donald Trump's bookkeeping error? The Access Hollywood tape had come out. He was getting nailed to the wall for his, consentless approach toward women, his misogyny, his nastiness. He was getting hammered. And right during that same time, he made a bookkeeping error to silence a woman that he had a degenerate, carrot dangling sexual relationship with while his wife was pregnant with his kid, no less. And he did that. He covered it all up. Why? Because he was trying to become president. So now we're in the neighborhood of election fraud, paying off a woman to keep her quiet after you're already on the skids to cover up a bunch of shit in order to win an election. Okay, which is trying to manipulate the election result, and you're doing all that while knowingly lying on your fucking ledger. And then that's not a bookkeeping error, Joe Rogan. Okay, that's definitely a fucking felony. Okay, the stakes of winning an election, the stakes of silencing a human being to win an election, the stakes of then lying on your financial papers in order to accomplish that. Bro, that is felonious. Come on, man. If that's not a felony to commit that type of forgery and bullshit in order to win an election, if that's not a felony, what is? But he called it a bookkeeping error. And he said lawfare. Okay, lawfare. What's lawfare? Because a president was charged with that type of shit, that you know what I mean? That other people fucking do bookkeeping errors and they get audited in their shit, or they get fired from their jobs, or they get fucking sued by people. You know what I'm saying? They go to jail for those types of bookkeeping cover-up errors, right? But it was lawfare because it was Trump. Was it lawfare to charge him for sending fake electors and trying to overturn the election? Was it lawfare when he hid the classified documents after the FBI requested he bring them back or turn them over and he didn't? I mean, was it lawfare to call up Georgia and say, man, we just need 15,000 votes? What can we do here? Was that lawfare? I don't know, man. To me, that doesn't seem like lawfare. Okay, lawfare feels like, Representative McIver in New Jersey, who was pushed in that scrum of people outside the fucking detention center in New Jersey, and then they say she assaulted the fucking ICE agents. That feels like lawfare. Brad Lander having his hand on the immigrant while they go through the hallway saying, I'll let go when you show me the warrant, and then they slam him against the wall and arrest him and charge him with assault. That is lawfare. But when you send electors to a fucking state to overturn an election result, that's not lawfare. That's you committing a fucking crime. You know what I mean? So, right? You see Rogan's language here? His language is when they tried to hold Donald Trump accountable for his crimes, I was really bothered by that. That's interesting.
They had charged him with 34 felonies for, which isn't even a felony. It's a misdemeanor.
And it's also campaign contribution.
Exactly. It's also past the statute of limitations. None of it made any sense. And people were cheering it on. He's a convicted felon. Hey, they can do that to you. Do you understand that?
Yeah,
if they can do that to a former president, a former fucking president who's rich as shit, they can do that to him. They can do that to you too. You can't cheer this on. This is insane. And then when they try to...
Dude, nobody's ever going to charge me with 34 felony counts, guys. right? For fucking fudging my personal records to try and win a fucking election. I'm never going to get charged for that. Like, dude, what is he talking about, man? You know what I mean?
Kill him. All those things.
Twice.
I was like, yeah, but
Oh,
the
wait,
big
what did he
one,
say there?
did that to you too. You can't
Listen to
cheer
this.
this on. This is insane. And then when they try to kill him, all those.
And then they tried to kill him. Who's the they there? The they? So what he thinks the Democrats tried to kill him? Is that what he's implying here? Who's the they here? They. Merrick Garland? Did Merrick Garland, like, you see what I'm talking about? Dude, you see what I'm saying? Like, dude, the fucking, dude, Thomas Crook was a fucking Republican, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Dude. And, dude, yeah, what's crazy about this, Tracy, what's up? I don't know, some of this, right? Some of this is like, it's fucking bothersome, dude. Can I just tell you guys? Can I just say, to me, one of the biggest ironies about these kind of manosphere guys is like, these guys are so afraid of pronouns. They are so like bent out of shape about pronouns, but goddamn, do they love the pronoun they. They is their favorite fucking pronoun. It is. Dude, go watch the video. We covered all that Obama shit in the beginning of the video. We're not recovering. You know what I'm saying? They love the pronoun they. Dude, that shit is their favorite, man.
Those things.
Twice.
I was like, yeah, but they, and then when they try to kill him, all those things.
Twice.
I was like, yeah, but the big one, the Pennsylvania one, was like, holy shit. And then the fact that they cremated that kid 10 days later, and then you find out he used to be in a BlackRock commercial, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
And then his apartment's professionally scrubbed. There's no silverware in it, and you don't hear a peep out of it. There's no press conference. There's no like, this is what we know about the case. This is what happened.
Mm-hmm.
This is what radicalized him. Nothing.
It seemed to just sort of go away. I mean,
Yeah.
like all the media pointed at the Secret Service for a while, and they were like, first of all, how did he get onto?
Yeah.
How did he get into line of sight? He was 130 yards away with a high-powered rifle. The place is crawling with police and Secret Service, and you know, I don't even know if that sniper that got him, did he act independently? Like, did he just do his job, or was?
Dude, sorry, I'm having a little bit of an allergic reaction at the moment, which I get sometimes at night. Here, allergies get pretty bad in the summer. Dude, this is kind of alarming, man, right? That, like, you know what I'm saying? To see that Joe Rogan is, he would never entertain the fact that that whole thing was a fucking staged thing or a disgruntled Republican, but the they, right? Like the way he uses they. Let's go, Aaron. You're right. Self-awareness is not a right-wing thing, but Rogan is obviously a deep stater. Okay. When you say they, right? It's like that. Oh, they tried to kill him. That's a deep stater. You know what I mean? That's an absolute deep stater fucking tendency there, dude.
Silverware in it, and you don't hear a peep out of it. There's no press conference. There's no like, this is what we know about the case. This is what happened. This is what radicalized him. Nothing.
It seemed to just sort of go away. I mean, like all the media pointed at the Secret Service for a while.
See, what's crazy about it though is you notice, guys, he's like, oh, it just went away. But did you notice that Joe Rogan never said, gee, I wonder why Trump didn't release the medical records, right? Why didn't Trump release his medical records? Why didn't we ever see the ear? Why didn't we ever find out about Trump's injury? What happened? His ear supposedly got blown off, but then it was magically healed like a week later. Dude, why do you keep saying that shit, bro? Like, you've said that now twice, boss. Get out of my fucking chat. I don't know why you keep saying that shit about like whatever your fucking Jew trip is. Dude, you keep saying that, right? Dude, out of the chat, annoying me. Right, his ear. We never heard about the ear. We never heard about we never saw the medical records. Donald Trump stopped talking about this, except to say that they tried to kill me, right? And you're right. The fact that he was a Republican got swept under the rug, okay? You know what I mean? Like this whole thing, but he doesn't question any of that, okay? Rogan has questioned 0% of that. But he's like, they shot him. They
were like, first of all, how did he get onto?
Yeah.
How did he get into line of sight? He was 130 yards away with a high-powered rifle. The place is crawling with police and secret service. And you know, I don't even know if that sniper that got him, did he act independently? Like, did he just do his job, or was he told to actually fire? Because I heard that. You
mean the guy who killed the
sniper
shooter?
that killed the shooter?
Oh, I don't know.
Because I knew there was some controversy.
Well, they think there might have been a second shooter as well.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah. The whole thing's insane because...
Oh, yeah. Now he just drops in this casual, might have been a second shooter. Yeah, you have any evidence of that, Joe Rogan? See, you know, guys, you know where Rogan officially lost me, guys? Okay? Where Rogan officially lost me was when he did the thing with President Trump. Okay, now, Joe Rogan never had me. I never liked him because he's this. He's bullshit, okay? He's fucking, right? He's just stir the pot, sow the chaos, be immune, $100 million paycheck, above everything, right? But the thing that got me was when he was talking to Donald Trump in the fucking... Right? He has Donald Trump on the show, and he questioned Trump about the election lies, about Trump lying about how he won 2020 election. And Trump saying he has all these papers, and Joe said, well, everything failed in court. Trump's like, no, I have documents. And Joe said, but dude, you have a Twitter following of like 100 million people. Couldn't you just put your evidence out on social media and that would like... Why didn't you do that? And Trump's like, oh, whatever. He brushed it off. But like Joe did no pushback right there. Like Joe could have said to him, let me see the documents right now. Let's put your documents on the show. Let's schedule a show. You're going to get your documents and we're going to put it on the air. I want to air this. I want to right? He could have pushed for it. He knew Trump was lying. He knew Trump didn't have shit. He knows that Trump can't keep quiet about anything. If Trump had fucking proof of anything, it would be plastered all over the goddamn world. Okay? He is the king of lawsuits, of fuck you, I gotta prove you right. It will be my last breath to fucking prove you wrong. You know what I mean? And dude, he just was bullshit about that. He kind of pushed a little bit to where you could see that Trump was lying, but he didn't have the fucking balls or the integrity to actually hold him accountable, okay? And now what he's doing, though, is he's holding, you know, they accountable, demanding they write lawfare, right? He won't hold him accountable for the crimes he commits. He won't hold him accountable for lying about the election, but he'll hold everybody that's they accountable for the way they handled the shooter, the way they stopped talking about the shooter, but he won't hold Trump accountable for hiding the injuries, right? You know what I mean? I mean, he's always protecting the establishment power side that is Trump, Dana White, fucking right-wing established, big money, fucking, you know what I mean? Patriarchal, fucking male-dominated fucking culture. That's who Joe Rogan is always going to protect and defend and cover the ass of. You know?
They've managed to cover it up. I mean, it would have been Lee Harvey Oswald 2.0 if Trump had died that day.
Yeah, but now that Trump's team has got, you know, the Department of Justice, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Department of Homeland Security, you got to think that they're...
You would hope.
I hope.
But, I mean, hey, we're only in April, right? Yeah. So he's only been in office for a few months.
There's a lot of stuff.
He's closing in on the first 100 days.
So that was kind of the shift. You're sitting back watching this.
Yeah.
And you're like, I can't let this just...
Well, it's also, there's no real conversations with him where you're just treating him like a human being. Like everything, he's being grilled and then everything's taken out of context. And I'm seeing them being taken out of context on the campaign trail. And like,
dude, that is some bullshit. Like when he's using Hitler's language, vermin, like him saying that they were changing the sex of your kids at school. Like that was not out of context, Joe Rogan. You fucking clown, bro. Now you're just pissing me off, little man. Seriously, what an asshole. That is complete bullshit. I watched Donald Trump no less than 50 times say they are changing the sex of your kids at school. And if Kamala Harris wins, your boys are going to go to school and come home girls. And that was not out of context. That was flat out fucking lies. Specifically designed to hurt transgender people and to other them for the sake of bringing together a coalition of negative, hateful, like religious fucking zealots that wanted to demonize a segment of the population. And they crafted entirely false narratives to do it. Right?
It was just gross. It was just so anti-American. Old, and then everything's taken out of context, and I'm seeing them.
Let this just.
Well, it's also there's no real conversations with him where you're just treating him like a human being. Like everything, he's being grilled, and then everything's taken out of context, and I'm seeing them being taken out of context on the campaign trail, and like it was just gross.
Dude, that pisses me off.
So anti-American. Like if you're an American and you believe in our justice system, and if you believe in our system of electing representatives, it should be the best people should have this opportunity to express what their plan is. This is what I want to do. This is where I stand on the issues. This is how I think I could pull it off.
The best people. If you believe in the American system of elections, should you lie about winning an election and do fake electors, Joe Rogan? The best people. So the best people, you think the major Pete Hegseth, who was a Fox News contributor, you think he's the best person to run the Department of Defense? Really, Joe Rogan? You really think that's going on? You think that the major who served less than 10 years in the military, over half of it only in the National Guard, he's a fucking major. He's never led a major group of people to battle. He never ran a big budget organization at all. Do you think that Pete Hegseth, the Fox News contributor, the drunk with rape NDAs, was the most qualified, the best person for that job? No fucking way. You think that RFK Jr. with no medical degree, who's out there firing lifelong researchers and doctors, you think he was the best person to run Health and Human Services? Like, come on, man. This is like, dude, what is he fucking talking about? Right? And he's talking about, if you really love America, are you going to tell lies about Haitian immigrants eating cats and dogs? If you really love America, are you going to say you hate all the Democrats, that the Democrats are all communist, fascist, socialist, Marxists? Right? If you really love America, you're going to lie about transgender people. You're going to lie about an election. You're going to call all the immigrants vermin and say they're poisoning the blood. A nation of immigrants we are? Like, dude, what the fuck, bro? Dude, I am getting livid, boss.
Mm-hmm. And then the American people are supposed to look at this person saying it and that person saying it and decide. But that's not what we were getting. We were getting one side that was radically being supported by almost all of mainstream media except Fox News.
Yeah.
and then and then the other side that is just, you know, it was just un-American to me. The whole it's just like, this is you're subverting democracy. You're killing the whole thing, and you're doing it with deep state money.
Dude, subverting democracy, right? Although he's full of shit with the media too, because every single rally, Trump would go on an unhinged rant for like 2 hours. And then the next day, every mainstream media outlet would write like a couple of paragraphs about the great things Trump said that he never said. They like never verbatimed him. They always extracted and interpolated some meaning onto the craziness that Trump did, right? And covered for him in numerous ways. Like, oh my God, dude. Dude, that was some bullshit. See, now we know, though, that Rogan is just as phony as these guys. This is why Rogan goes to the UFC. Dude, like, look at the picture on my thumbnail, guys. All right, there's a picture on my thumbnail from today. Dude, let me show you. It's a picture with Rogan and Trump, dude. It's with Anna. But there's the thumbnail from today. But look at these guys. This is after the election, right? Look at those dudes, dude. You see that shit? There's Rogan and Trump, okay? You know what I mean? Un-American? Nah, dude. Shysters, bro. You know what I'm saying? They're fucking shysters, man. Dude, they are. Look at them. They're like, yeah, man. We fucking, right? And who are they hanging out with? Right? Who are they fucking hanging out with? They're hanging out with Andrew Tate. They're hanging out with Russell Brand. They're hanging out with Dana White. Dude, they're hanging out with men that hit women, men that rape women, men that use power and money to fucking steamroll people, right? And they're hanging out in that UFC crowd in their little safe zone, okay? They don't give a shit about the trans people that Trump lies about on that stage. They don't fucking care, okay? They care about the white guys with a lot of fucking money that can hit women and rape women and get away with it. That's all they fucking care about, man. You know what I'm saying? It's all they care about, dude. And it's like never been more obvious. Never been more obvious. Dude, yeah. Dude. All right. On that note, though, guys, it is time. It's time for edit mode, guys. I got to edit some videos. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Would I need me to? All right, let's see what song we got coming up next. Hope it's a good one. Dude, I want to hear Radiant. All right. This is a song from 2002 from my band Number 3 Breakdown. This is a good one, guys. This is a good one. We're going to go out on this. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for all the donos, all the new members. Thank you for watching the videos. Thank you for being part of this thing we're building. Let's go. Hey, I just want to change the world. I just want the perfect girl. I don't ever hang around. I'd rather be found. Oh, dude, I can't remember the words. Dude, it's 23 years ago. Sorry. Everyone's waiting, anticipating. Let's go. I will never be alone again. I'm immune to the things they said. My heart's unbreaking. You're radiant truth. I know that you will understand, because I finally found myself. My heart's unbreaking. You're radiant. Hey, I just want to change the world, but I'm not gonna wait my turn. I don't ever want to come down, I'd rather be found. It gets better, I wonder, my pleasure together.
waiting, anticipating.
Is that Bryce in the New York City opening shot of what? What's the New York City opening shot?
It's about you. I will never be alone again. I'm immune to the things they said.
My heart's unbreaking. Your radiant truth. I know that you will understand because I finally found myself. My heart's unbreaking. You're radiant. You're radiant. Oh! Oh, dude. We're actually, you're about to hear another song from the same band, Number 3 Breakdown, a song I don't think you've heard yet, but here it goes. It's called You're on Blue. And yeah, the drummer in this band, Number 3 Breakdown, guy named Nate Chambers, dude. He was the best drummer I ever played with. Here's another one of those songs. I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. All right? Peace out. Be good to yourselves, people.
Just a little nervous, you're on blue. Who knows you're on blue? When every bruise looks good on you. Tell me who knows you're on blue? When every bruise looks good on you. You found out that nobody is perfect, and you doubt that anything is worth it. Look around, the world is a circus, you're on blue. So provoking, I forgot to mention, are you joking? I need some attention, and nothing's working to change your direction, you're on blue. Who knows you're on blue? When every bruise looks good on you. Tell me who knows you're on blue? When every bruise looks good on you. Why won't you hold my hand? Are you gonna deny this? Do the best you can. I haven't got a plan, but I'm gonna survive this. That's just who I am. When you're on blue, you keep everything inside of you.